is the heart of the business world in Lagos, the commercial capital of Africa's largest economy.
These aren't just numbers. They represent our nation's sharpest minds, our most successful investors, our most inspiring bosses. In Nigeria, business is in our DNA. From micro-business to startups to world-conquering brands. Every success story has something in common. They all started somewhere. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Global Business Report gets to the heart of business. We bring you the stories making headlines across the globe with in-depth analysis from experts and executives.
This is not business as usual. This is the Global Business Report.
Knowledge is power. Information is currency. Trust us to tell you what you need to hear. Welcome to the program. You're with Arise News in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Breaking news, exclusive interviews, unrivaled analysis. It's you, the audience, who drives our agenda. We tell the stories that inform you, the stories that are important to you, and the stories that are about you. We are not every news channel. We are Arise News.
A bit of showbiz. If it's happening in the world of entertainment, you'll be hearing about it here. From what's trending on the socials to music and movies, and all the latest showbiz gossip from around the world. Join us for a front row seat at the Oscars in Los Angeles, or the biggest moments from Fashion Week. It's fun, it's fresh, and it's packed full of all the entertainment news you need to know. You heard it here first. I'm Kachi Ofia, and this is Arise 360, where every culture matters.
Good morning out there. You're watching the morning show here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati.
I'm Ayo Mairo Ese.
And I'm Rufai Oseni, and for some days in a row, Dr. Abati has been goodness me with his suits. We've got a great show lined up for you for the next 3 hours anyway, so sit back, relax, and let's kickstart your day because the morning show begins right now.
Former Director of Civil Society Organizations of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Presidential Campaign Council, Ajia Najatu Muhammad, has alleged that the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, shared money to the party's governors to influence his emergence as a presidential standard-bearer of the party, a situation she described as shameful. Mohammed said the gaffes and blunders trailing Tinubu's campaign appearances are an indication of ill health and the fact that he was incapable of presiding over the affairs of the nation. The former APC member who said Vice President Yemi Osinbajo would have been a better choice given Tinubu's poor health, however, dismissed supporters of the presidential hopeful as greedy and interested only in his money. But in a swift reaction, the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council has hit Hajiya Najatu Mohammed, who has since decamped to the Atiku Abubakar Campaign Council, describing her as a mole in the APC presidential campaign. Joining us later on this show this morning on why she resigned from the APC Presidential Campaign Council is Hajiya Najatu Mohammed, former director of civil society organizations of the APC Presidential Campaign Council.
Moving things along, we shall be engaging Comrade Ayodele Adewale, the newly appointed Director of Outdoor Promotion and Management across 374 local government ward units in Lagos State, to tell us his new additional responsibility and to react to the call by opposition parties in Lagos State insisting that the ruling APC is muzzling and stifling their campaign activities.
Let's catch up on news making headlines across the globe. Michael Wilson will give us an update on global business outlook, while we'll also review today's newspaper with Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efin, while Audio, where we'll fill us in on what's trending around the world. It's going to be out all that and a whole lot more today on The Morning Show. Welcome back to The Morning Show right here on the Rise News channel. It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, says there are plans to sabotage the elections through the central bank's introduction of new Naira notes and continuing fuel scarcity across the country. Tinubu was speaking in Abeokuta, Ogun State, during his campaign rally. He told his supporters that fuel scarcity was artificial and that the unavailability of new Naira notes are plots to stop the elections to hold as scheduled. In a vague reference to those he referred to as the powers that be, Tinubu wondered why the fuel scarcity, which began in October last year, had not abated. The rally held at MPO Abiola International Stadium in Abeokuta was attended by APC leaders at the state and national levels. However, the APC presidential candidate called on citizens to remain resolute and resist any attempt to stop the elections. He described the forthcoming elections as a revolution that will usher in a new government.
A sọ fún yín lédè iná a rò pé àwọn lè dá wàhálà lẹ̀ wọ́n sabotage epo wọ́n sabotage epo arépo àlépo àrọ́kadà àrọ́kadà. Ari tricycle, a máa lọ dìbò, a máa wọlé, a máa dìbò, a máa wọlé.
We told you earlier, they think they can cause crisis by sabotaging fuel distribution. Whether there is fuel or not, whether motorcyclists walk or not, the election will take place and we will win. Let them hoard the fuel, let them hide the Naira. We will vote and we will win.
Wow. Another drama begins in the House of Stark.
Thursday morning, we thought usually it gets quite dramatic on the first day of the week and then it begins to ease as we get into the weekend. But of course, this is election season, so you would expect one day, something to talk about. But this is quite major, Rufai, Dr. Abati, because yesterday we had spoken quite extensively on the CBN governor's statements following the MPC, to the MPC meeting. And when he had said that come 31st of January, after that, the 1,000 naira notes, 500 naira notes, and 200 naira notes will become, will no longer be legal tender. And we all know that since this announcement was made in October, in terms of the redesigning of the naira notes, there have been quite a lot of drama, and I spoke about this yesterday, including, the CBN governor being chased after, as it were, by the DSS, seeking an injunction to arrest him, a court injunction, expert order to arrest him based on what they called anti-terrorism, allegations. And then we asked the big question: who is after the CBN governor? What has he done that is making some elements a bit jittery in terms of what are the policies that he's made, which are within his purview as CBN governor, backed by the CBN Act, that is making some people to shake? Why are people afraid of the redesigning of the naira, despite the merits that have been highlighted again and again? One of such is also towards the elections, to curb vote buying. And recall that even when it was debated in the House 2 days ago, Senator Biodun Olujimi said, let's look beyond the elections. Let's focus on Nigerians and how this policy will affect Nigerians. So now let's go back to yesterday's rally in Ogun State at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Ogun State, where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential candidate of the APC, is said to, we've heard it directly said in Yoruba, and thanks for the translation, saying that despite the fuel, holding of the fuel, despite the redesigning of the naira, or even holding of it, they will still win. So let me ask the question that came to a number of people are asking, following his statement. Number one, who are the powers that be? He wasn't specific, was quite vague. He said the powers that be. The last time we checked, and that's fact, the powers that be currently are members of his party. APC is the ruling party. Number two, the powers that be, the Minister of Petroleum is who? The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Indeed, yesterday, it was announced that we spoke about the fact that he had instituted a 14-man committee to look into this fuel scarcity that has persisted since October of last year, despite promises and efforts by, NNPC, complaints by Moman and the likes. It has still persisted. So that's the first question. The second question is that how does the redesigning of the naira or the unavailability of naira affect his particular campaign or the presidential election? We have 18 presidential hopefuls. Why is it only the APC presidential candidate that is worried about the redesigning of the naira and saying that it is an act to sabotage his campaign? That's a question that he must answer, actually. Why is the fact that there won't be, this push for a cashless policy in the country? Why is it why is it affecting his campaign so much? How does the redesigning of the naira distract from him being president of Nigeria? These are the questions that we should begin to ask when they make statements like this. We must pay close attention to what is being said and what is not being said. We call 2019 elections. He hasn't yet answered, at least to a satisfactory manner, to why there were 2 billion vans that went, drove into his Bodilon home. Is this an election based on money? Now more than ever, we must, as Nigerians, understand the importance of this policy at this point. The need for it to be on the 31st of January, the importance of ensuring that during this election, it must be the people's will and the people's choice, not induced by money, that would vote in the next president of Nigeria. And so we will continue to have conversations like that. Let the presidential candidates keep on speaking. The Nigerian people are listening. But Governor Godwin Emefiele has said, and it remains sacrosanct, go and deposit your old notes. Come 31st of January 2023, it will no longer be legal tender. 1,000 naira, 500 naira, and 200 naira. And kudos to the Central Bank of Nigeria for the efforts they are making to ensure that they are taking this message to the hinterlands of the nation, to ensure that the cash swap program, the sensitization program, they are having massive campaigns in these areas to ensure that they are able to deliver come 31st of January 2023.
Okay, I've been in this business of public affairs journalism since 1985. That will be 38 years, right? I've never seen anything like what happened yesterday in Abeokuta with the APC presidential candidate. After all, we monitored all the elections. even Babangida's failed, aborted election, the 1993 election, and all elections since then. And I've been commenting on all of this. But what happened in Abeokuta yesterday is surprising. It's a major twist in the tale, both at a historical level and also at a contemporaneous level, where you will have the candidate of a ruling political party throwing his own party under the bus. That's precisely what the candidate of the APC said yesterday. Of course, when he referred to powers that be trying to sabotage him, which powers are there? The only powers that be, would seem to be the APC government. That is at this time the dominant party in the country. So the first indication that threw across is that the candidate himself has doubts about the support of his own party. Because he was saying fuel scarcity. If they like, let them not give you fuel. If they like, let them change Naira design. These are policies of the Muhammadu Buhari administration. This was a case of the presidential candidate of the APC criticizing the chairman and leader of his own party. This is just the simple truth. And he was unequivocal about it. And he told his audience, they want to scuttle this election. Will you allow them? It's the APC that is in possession, right at this moment, of all the coercive instruments of state. You can only scuttle the election if you have a negative mind with the coercive instruments of state. Because the coercive instruments of state are not supposed to allow anybody to sabotage the election. And those coercive instruments of state are in the possession of the APC and the president of Nigeria. So we seem to have reached a point now where the ruling government is criticizing itself. Because the candidate of the APC is a major state actor, whether you like it or not. So this speaks to division within the APC, I think. The second point, of course, is that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the next election is going to be a major revolution. Vote them out, take power from them. He's saying they should take power from his own party. I mean, that's contradictory. I'm trying to do just basic intelligent analysis, without, anybody reading any meaning into it. Now, he talked about the fuel scarcity. The same fuel scarcity on the same day that the Nigerian government told us that they had formed a committee to address the problem, and that the president of the country and the chairman, leader of the APC, where I use chairman in a descriptive sense because the president is the leader of his own party, is going to be the chairman of that fuel scarcity resolution committee. And then you have your own presidential candidate turning against you. And then a number of contradictions yesterday. Before now, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had told us that the first thing he would do would be to remove fuel subsidy. Now, he was contradicting himself yesterday. He said he will do a revolution in Nigeria. He told the people what is coming is a massive revolution. This is a massive revolution that he promised in 2015. He led the campaign. He said he put President Muhammadu Buhari there, and they promised all kinds of revolution, 1 naira to $1. We have not seen that revolution. So what is the guarantee that, okay, the revolution that he's promising yesterday, will happen? He was telling his audience, look, if they don't give us fuel, we will trek. Who is going to trek so that he will be president? Is he going to provide, alternative forms of transportation? But the ideological point, the principal point, is how we have reached a point, this spectacle of a situation whereby the candidate of a ruling government would be condemning his own party. Is the most striking development in this electoral process. I don't know, I have not seen his handlers responding. Maybe they will say it was quoted out of context. It's very easy to blame the media. and say journalists are being mischievous. They quoted our man out of context, but I thought we also saw it on television, and we also saw some people telling the candidate of the APC to off the mic, Well, if anybody does not want this election to hold, it cannot be the opposition parties, whose main ambition is to take power from the APC. So he says they don't want the election to hold. He didn't identify those people, but he's probably talking about members of his own party. And of course, the PDP has responded to say that, look, this candidate of the APC is getting desperate because he doesn't seem to be getting the support. A statement issued in Atiku's name says the candidate of the APC is criticizing the president of his own party. And what further evidence do Nigerians need? Okay, what I've tried to do is to just give a general description of the embarrassment that constitutes. One final point, and it is as follows. I hope that the handlers of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu would find a way of making sure that he doesn't go to Abeokuta again before the election, so that he doesn't do further damage. Because the other time that he went to Abeokuta, that was where he was doing Olule, Lekne, Olule, criticizing President Muhammadu Buhari, right? And Dino Melaye, trying to reenact that the other day in Delta State, almost missed a disc, so that we don't have, all kinds of accidents because of gaps. So maybe they should keep him away from Abeokuta, because he went to Abeokuta again and he has delivered this bombshell again, criticizing a government that he himself said he brought to power. So I don't understand this kind of self-contradiction, this kind of self-sabotage. And, others will stretch it further and say all kinds of things. But I think, as a talking head analyst on television, I should just leave it there before, they say, oh, we were being misrepresented. There's no misrepresentation here. All of us listened to what he said, and we saw it. And even when they said he should off the mic, he didn't off the mic. And all the people around him laughing and all that, we should bring to question their own sincerity. Are they talking to their candidate? Are they guiding him appropriately? Are they setting him up to fail? So it's not enough for people to just come and make noise and claim, we are in charge of this, we're in charge of this. Can people just apply basic intellect?
Dr. Abati, where do I even start? Okay, let me start from what I said within the week. 23-24, the Royal Ayeje. Wasiu Masha was there yesterday. Orombo, he wrong paro funro, he came back case or that's how politicians are. So don't get lost in their shenanigans. When their interests don't align, they will abuse each other. Mr. Bola Tinubu now could abuse President Muhammadu Buhari because it's obvious there's friction within their camp. Their interests don't align. And there's reluctance. And that's why you see the first campaign President Muhammadu Buhari made for Bola Tinubu, he said, don't vote fraudulent people. And there was a back and forth reaction as regards that. But Dr. Abati, let me answer your question quickly before I start my analysis. You said, why is it that all of this used to happen in Abeokuta? I'll tell you why. In 1859, a certain British missionary called Henry Townsend started up a newspaper in Abeokuta called Iwe Iroyin, which is said to be the first newspaper, which is the forerunner to Nigerian journalism. So Abeokuta in this campaign has become the Ile Iroyin. That's why we are getting juicy gist out of Abeokuta. I'm just being cheeky there. And like you said rightly, the famous Emilokon speech was made in Abeokuta. And this one in Abeokuta. Long live Abeokuta. Egbawa, Dr. Abati. Let me move on by saying that it is just indicative. And please, I will make some inferences. It is a confirmation that President Muhammadu Buhari has failed Nigerians. And I'm happy Bola Tinubu alluded to the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has failed by saying that artificial scarcity are caused by those in the powers that be. And President Muhammadu Buhari is petroleum minister. So when we tell their surrogates that there are indications that people have failed, people should also know that President Muhammadu Buhari was said to have failed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential candidates. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu has also berated President Muhammadu Buhari. But I'm not surprised because, you see, if you get hoodwinked in this their joke, you will miss it. The reason why they are fighting now is their interests do not align. And people around him are also playing him. This is the biggest advice he will ever get. They are playing him because of the money they want to get for him himself. And that's why they can't tell him the truth. They will try to draw him out. You know, when they were pulling him back from talking, he said, don't pinch me. All the people around him too want to collect from him. And this is an objective advice. He likes, he takes it. He doesn't like, he doesn't take it. And we will wait when they will spin the story now by saying that, no, he was just talking about the things happening in the nation. He cares for the nation. That's why he's talking about fuel scarcity. Because we know that's how they're going to spin it. And they will abuse. And probably they will abuse Rufai and say, Rufai, you are very unprofessional. And they will write all sorts of articles. How not to be a journalist, Rufai Hussaini. Very funny. He also went further to berate a policy that was made by the CBN to bring sanity to the system. The CBN Naira redesign policy is a policy that will help the growth of the country, and we're already seeing the evidence and the signs in the reduction in inflation numbers. He also went further, berating the CBN, and that's why Daniel Bwala reacted that maybe the presidential candidates of the APC are those that are behind the hits Emefiele has been facing. He said that in an independent newspaper. The truth has to be said. Please leave Emefiele alone. It's not your problem. Leave the man to face his policy. And that 30th of January is sacrosanct. Nigerian people, please don't be hoodwinked in the conversation. You can see politicians are trying to push against this because of their own benefits. They've said it yesterday in the campaign. And in the coming days, they are still going to push to discredit the policy. You can call me a prophet or anything. Politicians are still going to push further. But please, Nigerians know that this is the best thing. I'm not saying there are not challenges, but the challenges are being addressed by the CBN as regards making the money available. And banks, please, make the Naira notes available. We are hearing occurrences of banks selling the money to some politicians, the new Naira notes. No, give it to the people. 31st, sorry, I wasn't correct on the dates. All right, give the money to the people, not sell it to the politicians, you banks. Let the CBN policy work because it has come to stay, and stop hounding Mr. Emefiele. Leave him alone. We just want free and fair elections. And it's except if you buy votes that this will happen. But let me round up by saying this. He talked about fuel scarcity, and we've been looking for the solution to fuel scarcity. I want to throw some ideas forward. It's a problem of demand and supply. The NNPC is struggling with getting Forex to pay from all the big partners they buy with abroad. There's short of supply. No matter the NNPC say they have enough in their barrels and enough in their tanks. We have 4 modular refineries in the country. But on my investigation, I discovered that those modular refineries, to get crude, they tell them to pay in dollars. These modular refineries can actually go a long way in ameliorating the problem of production within, because most of the modular refineries don't even get the crude to buy, or they are short supplied of the crude. Why don't the NNPC allow the modular refineries pay for crude in Naira, and from there, so that they can get crude, increase production, and we start to ameliorate these challenges? And as we all look at the grand plan of removing subsidies, because this system is not working. And that's a solution that I want all our presidential candidates to have talked about, rather than just talking about the fuel scarcity. We must have candidates that can provide solutions to the problems. But like I said before, it's politics season. Moving on to the next story. Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has confirmed the bombing of herdsmen and their cattle on the border between Nasarawa and Benue states. The herdsmen had reportedly retrieved cows in Benue to return to Nasarawa State when the bomb exploded at their camp. Governor Sule said tensions in the area had been giving them sleepless nights.
Benue yesterday, but then it crossed over to our state. You know, it had to do with some Fulanis that actually got to rescue their cows, and after rescuing the cows, there was a bomb blast at the area where they gathered their cows to bring them back into Nasarawa State. As a result of that, I have been on it all night, trying to resolve the matter with Chief of Defense Staff, Miyate Allah, Wild Stroke, and all the security agencies, including our Commissioner of Police. So both Deputy Governor and Commissioner of Police are on their way to Duma right now to ensure that we continue to douse the tension that may generate as a result of this. So by the grace of God, we'll see how to ensure that we maintain peace in that area where such bombing had taken place.
All right. Ayo, sad one.
Very sad, and my condolences to the governor and the people of Nasarawa State and the bordering town of Benue State. So as you mentioned, Rufai, these herdsmen were said to have been coming from their cows, who had violated the anti-grazing law in their neighboring town of Benue State, and on their way back, there was an airstrike. The unfortunate thing about this is that whilst there have been rumors as to who is responsible for this airstrike, both governors and security agencies have been unable to say definitely who is responsible. It is currently it's under investigation, and so until we get a full and robust investigation from security authorities, we can't really begin to point fingers, because that would be a bit irresponsible and could cause even more tension in that area. However, we ask that the security agencies provide a full and detailed investigation, and whoever or whatever group is responsible for this must be brought to the book. If it's indeed, anyways, I don't want to say too much because it hasn't yet been confirmed, and until the security agencies come out to tell us who is responsible for this particular airstrike, then we then can comment on this. But beyond that, Doma local government area in Nasarawa State has come under attacks from bandits, kidnappings. Just a few days ago, they said 6 young people were kidnapped, only 2 have been rescued. So these are small pockets in the north that are still undergoing serious security challenges and unfortunately might not even make headlines. And it speaks to the wider security architecture of our nation today. I wish the candidates of presidential or the presidential aspirants would have spoken to this. Perhaps this would have been the focus rather than what we spoke about earlier today. Making examples of these areas and talking about how they will deal decisively with the unfortunate situation we find ourselves as a nation with regards to security.
Okay, the bigger concern has to do with the elections. 30 days from now, thereabouts, less than. And the fact that as we approach the general elections in Nigeria for 2023, we keep having reports of pockets of violence in different parts of the country. If it is not Funke Akindele being attacked in a market, it will be billboards being removed, or it will be outright violence, large-scale explosions, as was reported yesterday in Nasarawa State. So the big concern has to do with the timing. Will all of these taken together derail the 2023 general elections? And which is why the security agencies have an obligation to ensure that this election is not disrupted by any act of violence, sabotage, before, during, or after. That's number one. Number two has to do with the location of the reported attack. This is said to be between the border between Nasarawa and Benue State. Now, this is not new. Before now, in the last 2 years, even beyond then, we have had reports of conflicts in the border area between Nasarawa and Benue State, specifically of an ethnic coloration between Fulanis and TVs. And on one occasion, the governor of Benue State has had to speak up. The TV Youth Council had to also speak up at some point to say, oh, Fulani herdsmen were attacking them. But what makes it really problematic is a report of the old Egyptian ritual of reprisal killing. So one group is said to attack another one. The other group engages in reprisal killing, creating a repeated cycle of conflict and violence. And whereas this is not new, the Nigerian state has failed woefully over the years to resolve these conflicts, inter-ethnic, inter-religious conflict. So that's a subtext, I think, of what is playing out in this particular Nasarawa case. Further complicated by the timing of the occurrence and similar issues in other parts of Nigeria. The third point has to do with the fact that nobody is even sure. The state government says, oh, attack on Fulani herdsmen, but some of the reports indicate that, look, this attack, could it be an act of terrorism, or could it be, ethnic conflict, or could it be an airstrike? The Nigerian Air Force reportedly trying to clean up that area, having been given intelligence that there are terrorists in the area. Then hours after the incident, the same Nigerian Air Force has been taciturn. What exactly are they doing in the Air Force? If they're not involved in it, they should speak up. I've not seen a statement from the Air Force, and they shouldn't waste time. If they're involved, let them say so. If they are not involved, let them say so. We can't have an Air Force, that can just be dropping bombs everywhere without explanation, even when it is mentioned in the matter. The final point, the police, they've also put their mouth into the matter. They say they are investigating. Well, these investigations, election season. We are investigating, we will get to the root of the matter, we are on top of the matter. Nobody ever gets to the root of any matter. But this kind of incidents, whether in Nasarawa State, or Benue State, or a border area, or Lagos State, or elsewhere, is likely to further, dissuade the people, discourage the people from participating in this major electoral process that we all face. And we hope that in this particular instance, nobody will drop the ball. But the bigger question will be how to resolve inter-ethnic, inter-religious rivalry, and the specter of reprisal attacks in certain parts of the country.
It is sad that we have to go through this path again as a country. A strike, people die. The fact that there are many colorations to our crisis. Inter-ethnic, inter-race, you name it. Inter-farmer header crisis, and it goes on and on. But I think it's also symbolic because it just shows that whoever is going to become president has his work cut out from him. The fact that we have this for one too many times in the country, and in the last 8 years it's only increased. The fact that when you look at it critically, we still have ways of doing things that could be an anathema to progress and development. The way we've handled our security situation, the way we've done things, the way we've even tried to wade in. And I think many things need to shift for this country to move forward. We'll wait for the investigation so we can have a holistic view, because investigation gives you every view. But it saddens me to say we've seen this way too many times before, because it's not going to change. The investigations will not reveal anything. Nothing will be done. It will still be that same way. Those that will take glory. Those that will sulk, and the reprisal attacks will continue. So we ask diligently, what do we want for our country? What do we want really for our country? And it has to be said that what we want for our country will determine how we treat our country. It's time for a short break. When we return, we'll have Michael Wilson to give us updates on global business activities. Stay with us.
I've been running my business on my own, trying my best to get it to the next level, but I really need some help to get ahead. I know just what to do, I'll vote it for my loans, overdraft, step by step to my dream business we vote. Salary earners, entrepreneurs, get your loans with no collateral. Quick sign up, zero paperwork, step by step to your dream business we vote.
Vault is available to individuals, SMEs, and corporate customers. Download Vault by Polaris Bank from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store to get started today.
Yesterday, I got a call from Glow. I won a 3-bedroom bungalow.
Yes, guys! Guess what? I won a car. I won a generator by participating in the Festival of Joy promo by Glow.
Hey, Glow don't do this one for me. Glow to make it set to me with sewing machine.
I won generator last year. This year I won for
It's a celebration like no other, with prizes like no other. 20 new houses to be won, 24 brand new cars, 200 sewing machines, 100 generators, 1,000 rechargeable fans. Glow Festival of Joy promo. Dial *611# now.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. For Global Business Update, Michael Wilson joins us now from Cape Town, South Africa. Good morning, Michael.
Morning. Asia markets really slightly more optimistic mood this morning, awaiting some important kind of data, but the most important thing is that China is closed, obviously, for the Lunar New Year holiday, and Australia is closed as well. Australia, if you remember yesterday, recording those rather high inflation figures. Let's turn our attention to the Philippines, which has actually achieved 7.2% growth. It's actually quite strong. Exports not doing too badly, but strong domestic demand as well in the Philippines. And the markets, they're sort of thinking that the rate may go to 6%, and then beyond there, not a great deal of increase. So everything looking rather well as far as the Philippines are concerned. As far as China's concerned, the strain on the public health service is beginning to show. And what's happening is that consumers are particularly going towards private healthcare in China now. The things that investors are looking at for the over 20s in China, top of the shopping list are health, healthcare, private healthcare, sports, and also general wellness products as well. If that means anything to you, that's certainly the way that China's going right now. So there's no particular fall in the news about COVID, but the fact of the matter is that the consumers are going to private insurance because of that. South Korea has recorded a quarterly contraction. Again, the GDP has shrunk by 0.4%. The economy has grown, nevertheless, 1.4% year on year. But what this shows is the fact that exports are 5.8% down. So basically, a slowing global demand is having a direct effect on South Korea's economy, it being a big exporter, obviously. Pakistan is apparently near economic collapse. They've only got $5 billion worth of foreign reserves left. That would cover probably about a week's imports. Goods are piling up around the ports. People actually can't get dollars to pay for them, to import them. There was a national blackout for 12 hours on Monday, for which the president, Shehbaz Sharif, was forced to apologise, and the way that they're going to the IMF now, the $7 billion, that's still hanging in the balance. But most economists think that will be nothing more than a band-aid for the economy there. Generally speaking, the flood damage is being put now at $30 billion. So there's a long way to go before that economy actually puts itself right. Let's talk about the United States, and S&P 500 futures up overnight because of Tesla. Chevron share buyback there, $75 billion share buyback. Whether that will encourage a windfall tax across other energy companies, who actually knows? Let's talk about Tesla, though, which recorded a beat as far as earnings are concerned, but what it didn't do, it didn't actually say it's been achieved on price cuts, but it didn't actually say whether or not demand was actually picking up. And this is the crucial thing. And this will also have reverberations around the electric car company, because its rivals include Ford, General Motors, Rivian, and UKID, and this is just in the United States. So a long way to go, I would suspect, before Tesla shares actually do it. And whilst we're with Elon Musk's company, Elon is facing, as far as Twitter's concerned, an inquiry because of alleged political manipulation in India, not wishing to record the results of a documentary about the government in that particular country. We'll get the US GDP figures later today. It will show expected a slight growth in the fourth quarter, but may point to a recession coming in 2024. Remember, these are quarter four figures, and everyone who felt that, as far as retail sales showed things, that actual public spending or consumer spending actually fell in the last part of the year. Let's go to Lael Brainard. Now, she's deputy chairman of the Fed. She was appointed by Joe Biden. There's a top job going at a chairperson at the National Economic Council, and she's in the running for being director of that. There are other people too, but it's felt that her record, giving the experience she has working with national and federal banks, and also monetary policy in general, will put her quite well to be placed within that kind of job. As far as the EU is concerned, there's a startup I want to draw your attention to, and this is something called Marvel Fusion. There is I think that's the CEO, Moritz von der Linden. What's actually happening is that investors are actually saying to this company, which is one of the very few fusion startups in Europe, they're saying, look, you should be going to the United States, because they're offering huge subsidies for these kind of companies. And it's feeling as though Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, with those kind of subsidies, may even start a kind of green war, a green trade war between the EU and the United States. UK car production down to the kind of level, down 10%. That takes it down to the levels of it hasn't been seen for 66 years. Yes, there are a majority of electric cars being made and so on, but until the SMMP, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, actually get to what they hope to be a target of 1 million cars produced in the UK by 2025, they're calling on government action to try to make the UK more friendly towards foreign direct investment, which would therefore help the car industry as they see it too. And it could be that the Australians will step in to save the British Volt company. Now, that was planned, that's gone into administration, but there is an Australian battery company called Recharge Industries, which has made a preliminary bid for the company. Again, they're talking to government, they're talking to local authorities. They're still trying to, as it were, get their corporate head around exactly what this might cost. But it may be that 3,000 jobs are saved in Northumberland at Blythe, and this would be an important part of the way in which the UK may be moving towards electric vehicles. Oil, modest gains, quite honestly. The EIA crude oil inventory has shown that there's the demand for crude oil is marginal at the moment, so no huge amount. And Bitcoin has actually, again, fallen very, very slightly to $20,000 now. Reason for that is that it's tending not to cope very well when the risk-on environment is there, and as rather risk-off. And Wall Street is definitely risk-off at the moment, as you realise, with them sort of consolidating over traditional industries, which of course does not include cryptos. That is the global view this morning.
Right, real quickly, I'd like to talk about the emergence of something that is a sad reality of the world we live in today, the military-industrial complex, necessitated by the Ukraine war, vis-a-vis the oil market. Just yesterday, Germany, very pacifist in nature over the years, decided to set its Leopard tanks too, 14 of them. Lockheed Martin's too have been experiencing a hike in share prices, American armament maker. It is a good time for all the arm-making companies at the expense of other businesses in the world today. Where would this lead us?
Well, I don't think it takes a genius to understand that in times of war, then defence stocks are worth buying. Now, again, in a Leopard tank, there may be, I don't know, I'm not a military expert, but there may be components which are not necessarily initially made to be in a military thing. So as far as the moral compass of this is all concerned, it may be that the separate parts of equipment used in war also contain materials which are used towards more peaceable products as well. But I think that's the way of the world, really. Yes, of course, defence stocks will increase as a result of that. If you're talking about the military complex, the complex part of things is what some of the components are. Sometimes used in war-making machines, sometimes not.
All right, let's talk about Pakistan. Unfortunately, what some people have termed Pakistan's economic woes. You've mentioned and talked about the IMF bailout fund and talked about how that would have the extent of the impact of the bailout fund for the economy of Pakistan. I mean, they've had to take drastic measures, including auctioning one of their properties in the US, also asking event centers, wedding halls to close early so that they save on energy import funds. But what's the future for Pakistan? Because if IMF does release at the time it was $1.1 billion fund, and it's not sufficient, what else would be done to revive the Pakistani economy?
I think that those kind of questions really need to be thrown at Pakistan, don't they? I mean, what they're saying now is that the floods there caused $30 billion worth of damage, and the package, as I understand it from the IMF, is $7 billion. That's in doubt at the moment, and it's clear if you do the sums, it doesn't take a genius, does it, to understand that would be no more than a band-aid over the country's problems. I suspect it probably will get help from the rest of the world because it's in a relatively strategic place, and I'm guessing that geopolitics is such these days that it would require some kind of help. But it didn't gain many friends when it was originally saying that because the climate change which had caused these floods should be put on the shoulders of Western developing countries, and therefore they should be paying towards the reparations in Pakistan. I would have thought those arguments probably don't stand up to an enormous amount of scrutiny, and I think they will need to be seen to be doing something to help themselves before the IMF gets further involved. That's my guess. I don't know what's in the IMF, but there is the package of $7 billion, and Pakistan is now saying that there's $30 billion worth of damage done by the floods, and they are not shy of saying that they only have $5 billion worth of foreign reserves, which, as I said to you, is about a week's imports bill.
Okay, Michael, I'd like to go back to that point about the military-industrial establishment. The papers report that the world is uniting against evil and that the world is trying to defend freedom. That's the narrative that is put out there by Germany and Poland, all the NATO allies who are saying, we'll give tanks to Ukraine. Now, Germany says, I'm not going to give you jets. We can give tanks. The Americans are saying Abrams tanks can go in that direction. However, the point about Lockheed Martin is that Lockheed Martin, the leading defense contractor in the United States, says it is ready to supply F-16 jets and that they are ramping up production. That's what the CEO is saying. So that where there are third-party requests, they will be ready to supply those F-16 jets. And of course, Zelensky is saying that he needs jets, not just tanks. So at the end of the day, what is this all about? Is it about defending freedom? Is it about ensuring peace? Or is it about commerce, trade? Americans, Germans seeking to sell hardware, military hardware, and profit from other people's nightmare in the Russo-Ukraine war. I think that's the issue. Now, the second point.
Do you read George Bernard Shaw? Do you know who that is? George Bernard Shaw?
George Bernard Shaw. I not only read him, I taught his literature for years.
Read Arms and the Man if you want to know about arms manufacturers.
Yes, I know that very well as a former teacher of Western drama.
Okay, so that's the moral argument taken care of. As far as geopolitics are concerned, I really don't know what the answer is, and I'm not alone in this. I'm not a geopolitist, but I think what appears to be happening now is that NATO doesn't want to get directly involved, but but what it's doing is it's enabling Ukraine to use some of its weaponry against Russia, but it doesn't want to get directly involved because it fears what Russia may do. Now, whether those fears are grounded in reality or not, I simply don't know, and nor does anybody else. We play a game of bluff and we play a guessing game. We know that Russia is not unused to having a bigger mouth than actually it can achieve. But whether that happens or not, I do not know. But of course, Lockheed Martin would say that because they've got shareholders. But whether or not there'd be direct input from them into the conflict at the moment, I have my doubts, quite honestly. That's a red line which so far has not been crossed. All that the NATO powers have been doing has been supplying equipment for the Ukrainians to actually use.
Well, another thing I wanted to ask you is about Donald Trump. Meta says he can now come back to Facebook. In October, when he was asked to return to Twitter, he said no, he couldn't do that now. This time around, will he return to Facebook, or he will wait till June when his agreement with the Truth Social times out? That's his exclusivity agreement.
Yeah.
What do you think is likely to happen?
No less a person than Nick Clegg, who used to be, as you know, the leader of the Liberal Democrats in the UK, now finds himself as Meta's a global affairs spokesperson, or whatever they call it, is now saying that, of course, we have to take Trump back on again because what he described as we give voice to the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, this is a position that things like Facebook and these social media companies now face themselves. What do? Do they give outlet to so-called free speech and let the people actually taking it on board and listening to it make up their own minds about it? I don't know. Maybe they do, but that doesn't seem in line with what seems to be happening in the rest of society, when even organs of advanced learning now decide that they need to warn their students as to whether or not they ought to be looking or reading about this. And this applies to Shakespeare. This applies to plays like Titus Andronicus and plays like Macbeth, where naughty things happen, nasty things happen. Yes, of course they do. But this is where Facebook now find it. It's where social media now find it. Do you actually keep the guy away from it, or do you open up the democratic argument which says we take the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you, dear reader, decide?
Well, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you very much indeed. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to Ayodele Adewale, Director of Outdoor Promotion and Management, APC State Organizing Secretary, Lagos State Chapter, Secretary, APC Presidential Campaign Council, Special Duties, 2nd Directorate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
As you adjust to the new realities for operating your business and engaging with your customers, let us help you transform your business into a digital powerhouse capable of adapting and taking advantage of today's opportunities. With our best-in-class array of digital solutions, you can conduct your business, receive payments from your customers, and perform transactions quickly, safely, and conveniently, because we've got you covered with the right people, technology, and service offerings. Contact us today and let us take your business to its zenith. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
I'm about to serve better breakfast.
If you're in Lagos, you need to see this.
I'm not just streaming content, I'm just escaping traffic.
Get more data to enjoy exclusive content. Dial *141# now.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
My brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states, plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow.
This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
Haruna, BC, Akman, Unduka, how I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote, I broom and go put my hand over for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote, I broom and go put my hand over for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget, now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote, I go put my hand over for Tinubu.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The local government unit of the Directorate of Outdoor Promotion and Management of the Independent Campaign Council, under the leadership of Mr. Tayo Ayinde, Chief of Staff to the Executive Governor of Lagos State and Director General of the Independent Campaign Council, has appointed Comrade Ayodele Adewale as the Director of Outdoor Promotion and Management across 374 local government ward units ahead of the presidential and governorship elections. Comrade Ayodele Adewale's appointment is coming at a time when when opposition parties in Lagos State are complaining and accusing the ruling APC of denying them a level playing ground to accomplish their 2023 election ambition. According to the opposition parties, the ruling APC continues to undermine their campaigns through destruction of their banners and posters, attacks by hoodlums, intimidation of supporters, and stopping them from using billboards. However, the APC has dismissed these allegations, saying it does not need any form of manipulation and negative schemes to retain the state it has been ruling since 1999. Joining us now on the show is the newly appointed Director of Outdoor Promotion and Management across 374 local government ward units in Lagos State, and also the APC State Organizing Secretary, Lagos State Chapter, and Secretary, APC Presidential Campaign Council, Special Duties 2. Good morning, comrade.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Comrade, congratulations, I guess, will be in order with your appointment as the man in charge of outdoor promotion and campaigns in Lagos State. And we hope that, we'll see some difference. But before we get to that, let's start off with the subject we discussed before you joined us, which is the statement made by the presidential candidate of your party in Abeokuta yesterday, accusing the powers that be, the only powers that be at this moment, are the people in Abuja, the APC ruling government, of using Naira redesign and fuel scarcity to sabotage his campaign. This is a case of the APC candidate attacking his own party and the government of his own party that he helped to bring, as he claims, to fruition in 2015 and 2019. How do you feel as a member of that party, considering the fact that all the other political parties have moved in? PDP is now ironically defending President Buhari. Labour Party is now defending President Buhari. He's just the APC candidate that is condemning his own president. Would you like to address the question?
I would not see it from a standpoint of condemnation, but I will see it from
the point of view of innuendo in law. There's something called innuendo. If you say it's not
there is no innuendo about it. It only shows that APC is a very democratic party. Okay. It allows freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and it allows people to put out whatever they feel it's right to be put out. And the presidential candidate of the APC have only expressed his views as a democratic personality and a freedom fighter. Basically, you cannot remove any hiccup in any system. And beyond that, Nigerians also have complained that the policy is not totally people-friendly and that there should be some level of laxity within that policy. And I've also heard on your program that, especially in the far north, where you have some little security issues where banks are not really operational, that a lot of people have complained that the non-availability of these banking presence will also create problems for them if we stick stricto sensu to the CBN rules. And I'm also using this platform to appeal to the CBN governor to extend the date a bit, especially for all Nigerians to be moved into the dragnet.
All right. I mean, we'll go into, I have two questions, just following up on what Dr. asked you with regards to the freedom of expression that has been demonstrated by the APC through your presidential candidate's speech, or yesterday in Abeokuta. Do you not think that since your presidential candidate belongs to the same party as the president, he didn't have to come out to criticize one of his policies, rather than could he not have been intra-party, where he could, a telephone call would do, a conversation at party meetings would have done. It seemed like an opposition party speaking against the ruling party. However, it's the same party that was speaking to the other. And then just so I speak to you based on your, the conversation of today, I'd like to ask you as to the merits from other parties accusing the ruling party in Lagos State of, pulling down their posters, putting up obstruction to them advertising, outdoors.
You see, the APC does not operate within a secret society system or dealings or operational guidance, as the case may be. It's a full-fledged democratic institution, and it allows for members not just to speak within, members should also speak outside of the system in order to carry everybody forward. The presidential candidate have not walked out of line. He has only expressed the feelings of many Nigerians that the date be also put forward. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Buhari, have always allowed his officers to also exhibit what they feel that can be right. And he also listens to the preponderance of opinion in order to put his feet down. So the candidates have done what is right to echo the pains of many Nigerians, and I think we should not make a mole out of such statement. Let's move forward. The APC outdoor promotion and management is set to making sure that the popularity and campaign material of the party is taken to the nooks and crannies of every corner of this country, especially in Lagos State. And that is why we have created a structure at the ward level to make members participate in the distribution of campaign materials, especially posters and other insignia across the 777 wards that we have in Lagos State. And it is fake news for people to say that they've been debarred from putting out their campaign materials, and I stand to be corrected. If you go to MM1, between MM1, MM2, up to the toll gate, driving towards International Airport, and the PJ section, the private jet section, you see some banners hung along the street lightings. They are predominantly PDP. There's no APC presence there. If you go to major bridges like the Third Mainland Bridge, on the left side of it, you see PDP posters pasted. On the right side of it, you see the APC poster pasted. APC have not gone to deface any poster or any political insignia of any party. In fact, we have it on record, and it was distributed on social media, and it went viral, where a PDP coaster bus, branded coaster bus, put somebody on the road, and the person was tearing the poster of the APC presidential candidate. We didn't fake that. We didn't put that out, but it is there as evidence.
Okay, so concerning that, the governorship candidate, Jandor of the PDP, was here, and he said he had evidence that when he contacted billboard owners, they returned their money after payment, and he showed us the receipt of payment. And what was said was that the government will not be happy with us if we take it. In fact, if you want to refute it, it's out there on media like Jandor to probably send the evidence of payment out so that we all see, and the fact that his money was returned, because he said it here when he was here. Secondly, I'd like to also ask you this. There's a response on this day that says, Atiku Tinubu currently design has destroyed your bullion van plan. So the question is it because of the bullion van plan that Tinubu was saying all what he said yesterday? And tell us about, let's talk more about how bullion vans were entering somebody's house on election day in 2019. Because you see, we've not gotten to the end of that bullion van matter. If you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure that there are polling units inside bullion van. What was money needed for an election day? Was it for vote buying? Until today, we've not heard the last of that bullion van matter, and they've also raised it now. What is this bullion van plan that the PDP campaign is saying? And what really happened? What was those bullion vans for? Did they just stroll to visit? Or what really happened with those bullion vans in the last election? Because there were pictures and videos there.
Well, on Mr. Jandon's matter, I would say that statement is not correct. If he claimed to have paid, and I think that receipt should be authenticated, we should check the bank where that money was paid. We should check the account that he claimed that the money was paid. And from there, we pick it up to know what exactly happened. The LASA does not directly control the system. It only kind of making sure that the private sector that have come into play do what is needful. And if you know a lot about advertising, just like in your station, someone cannot just come in today, key in their promo, and start running. You have a key set system that you have in place. We should investigate that matter, and we take it on from there. On the other question of the bullion van or no bullion van and all of that, I think that matter has been put to rest. There was no money in the bullion van. The bullion van that even came missed the address to have come there. Okay. It missed the address to have come there, and that was why the bullion van was...
But why was bullion van moving on election day? I thought there was supposed to be no movement.
No, it was not an election day. It was not. It was Rufai. It was. I was in that house on that very day.
Was the day before
it was not an election.
So it was the day before election. But why was bullion van moving everywhere?
The bullion van missed the address to have come there.
Okay. I thought your presidential candidate had actually said that what's people's business with how he spends money.
I watched it. He said that jokingly. Okay. It was a joking statement.
So the bullion van missed
the same way Mr. Dangote said that when he wanted to authenticate and get his mindset that truly he has money, he went to cash 1 million naira, brought it to his house, sat and looked at his money and returned it to the bank.
No, but I just want to get this right. You said the bullion van missed its way to come into the place.
Yes.
But that place is not a known bank, or was it a bank? I just want to get to the root of it.
There are some companies that have high staff that pay their staff with cash, right? That bullion van missed his way there. Okay. And it was not invited by Asiwaju or anybody.
Okay, comrade. Bullion vans have become unidentified moving objects or flying objects in Nigeria. That's fine. We hope this time around nobody will carry bullion vans around. The CBN has even made that impossible. Nobody is going to carry any bullion van, so which is fine. But let me ask you, to go back to this Jandon issue. Funke Akindele went to Ikosi fruit market yesterday to campaign. Okay, Lagos State government, your party is saying, oh, we'll provide level playing field in Lagos. But the People's Democratic Party is protesting that Funke Akindele, deputy governorship candidate of the PDP, was chased out of that market by hoodlums. And that's not the only place where they were chased out by hoodlums. And that as they go from ward to ward, they are not even allowed to put their campaign materials or distribute their campaign materials. So, whether you agree with that allegation or not, now that you have been given the responsibility to ensure smooth campaign by all stakeholders, by all interested parties in Lagos State, in all the wards, what are those strategies you are going to put in place, particularly to check these so-called hoodlums, who other political parties say are sympathetic to the APC?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that you noting that those people who carried out quote and unquote alleged act are not members of the APC. They are hoodlums, as said by you.
Acting as agents, as Adediran, the candidate of the PDP, claims for the APC.
Thank you. As hoodlums, as put forward by you, by the allegee. Now, the issue is this. If you are going on campaign, it is provided that you also reach out to security operatives if you have any inclination that such thing can happen. So I would advise that Mrs. Akindele or Mr. Jandon or whoever, whenever they are going out on such political activity, should also do their mappings very well. And if they foresee any itch they should reach out to security operatives to give them the security that they deserve. It is not the concern of the APC to help them organize how they will move. It is our concern for our party to organize our members will move. And if such thing happens, they should also move with the press and go with cameras. I've often said that, to get footages that will assist the security operative to get to the root of the matter.
All right. I want to ask around posters in Lagos State put up on government buildings. So some have accused your party, being the ruling party in Lagos State, of campaigning in structures that belong to the government and not, it belongs to the public. How would you respond to that? So, for instance, the Oshodi bus terminal in some local government areas and the likes. Should you be campaigning in what is accessible to all Lagosians and not a private property?
Well, this cut across all parties, all players.
I'm speaking to the APC now.
Yeah, it cut across all parties, all players. APC alone have not done that. And like you have said, is a public property, not a private property. It's even easy for you to put your posters on public property, knowing fully well that the government will come to take it out at their own expense, and don't put it on private property, whereby the private person will have to bear the expenses of either repainting their wall or taking it off. But again, we are moving on to a state whereby we'll be able to conform and confine ourselves to some certain spots where these things can be put out. But again, if we go ahead and say X, Y, Z cannot do this, the same you will say that, according to the information given to you, that we have prevented them from carrying out their civic responsibility to put out their information. But such thing will be corrected in future.
Okay. So I'll have to go back to the poster and outdoor before you also, by chance tell us the plans you have, for this new position.
Can I have a glass of water?
Yes, please. We'll get you a glass of water. And congratulations on your new position, I should say. I've not said that to you. And Happy New Year to you, my brother.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes. So real quickly, the airport, you said you only saw posters around. They said most of those things were owned by FAN. That's what I just been made to understand. That what they're talking about is the billboards within the states that LASA has, convention over. And secondly, concerning this bullion van issue, there was a story, if you guess you can go and read it, in the Cable in 2019, February 23rd, 2019, that talked about your presidential candidate actually owning up to it and saying, yeah, it is my, that have I worked in government before? Have I stolen anybody's money? No. That if a bullion, because I'm responding to the fact that you said that the bullion van missed road, which a lot of people look and say, how can a bullion van miss road like that? I don't know GPS or anything. But he alluded and said, it is my money. And I'm going to even quote what he said here, where he was talking about the fact that, excuse me, I don't represent any agency of government. I have money to spend. If I have money, if I like, I can give it to people free of charge, as long as not to buy votes. So who are those watching my house and looking at bullion van? They must be mischief makers and all of that. So just to tackle the argument that you made that the bullion van missed road, he acknowledged it. He said, it's my money. I can do anything with it. And it's his money. So there's no scrutiny on him because it's his money. But the scrutiny is, it might be for vote buying. What do you say about that?
Now, my response to you, which I had already done before, is that statement was made jokingly. Reporters met with him. I was there. I was standing not too far. Met with him, and there were a lot of accusations. If you know Ashwaju very well, he loved to crack jokes and crack people up most times. And he said that statement. Not that he owns it. And all of that. We've seen pizza delivery van miss their road. We've seen high equipment van miss their road. We've even seen heavy military equipment. There was one that missed his road into Nigeria once. That the Nigerian government had to seize that armor tank and all of that. People commit human error. It was an human error by the people that were coming. And I've told you that it was a missed identity of address.
Okay. Your plans now for the directorate?
Our plans is to make sure, like we've said, working within the framework of the law, the rule of law, to making sure that we put all our posters, all our publicity materials across various wards. We are taking it to the nucleus where the votes are coming from, where the voters are coming from, and talking to them, showing them our programs without hurting anybody. And that will help us to increase our numbers. We're not just hitting major highway thinking that people will pass through there, just move away. We're using handbills. We're using new digital technologies like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook to reach people, even if you can't cross their fence. Reach them, educate them about our programs, and convincing them to vote for us. That is what we're doing basically.
No, I asked you a question earlier on. You were talking about police. Anybody who wants to campaign should get security details to provide protection. What is a guarantee, considering the fact that your party is also the sitting government in Lagos State, to ensure that other political parties can also distribute their pamphlets? They can also distribute their campaign materials in all these wards, and that their billboards will not be pulled down, and that APC will not dominate the Third Mainland Bridge and Ikorodu Road. The issue is about a level playing field. I know you, as the man who has been given the assignment, you want to adopt all kinds of strategies to make sure that it's only the APC. But how do we ensure that other political parties can also sell their message, advertise their message?
You must not be quick to forget, Mr. Abati, that I'm a civil rights person and I've been trained along that line. And everything that I will do, that the APC will do, will be within the framework of the rule of law. And we will not hinge out of that. I will give you a case study. If you go to Amuwodofi now, the preponderance of political material that you can see around of the PDP, and of course, the Labour Party. Nobody have restricted them. The APC also have sizable numbers there. But majorly, they are them. Nobody have gone to destroy it. That shows you how tolerant the APC is. If you go to Third Mainland, lots of it are for the PDP. You understand? So we are not competing along that line. But what we are focusing on is how to get our messaging down to the voters and not waste funds. Remember, the INEC also have a rule on the number of posters that you can do and the amount of money that you can expend. So we are being very wise not to shoot the borders.
It's not a good example to cite because you know there is a resilient local hybrid voting population in Amuwodofi, where even if the APC government wants to stop people, it may not be so easy. But how about this allegation?
How come, sir?
How about this?
Why will it not be easy?
But you know it's a hybrid.
There's nothing hybrid. I was the chairman of it. APC is more popular there.
Okay.
I'm only telling you about the tolerance of the APC in any corner of Lagos.
Okay, if you say so. We all know the situation. But how about the allegation that the APC is colluding with INEC and stopping people who are not from Lagos State or who are non-Yoruba from collecting their PVCs in Lagos State? I mean, the allegation is out there. I'm not making it up.
I like the fact that you said this allegation. It's not factual. If it's fine.
People are not getting their PVCs.
People are getting it. If you look at again the INEC numbers that was put out, I will use Amuwodofi as a case study again. We rank among the first three highest that have got that, where people have gotten their voters cards and all of that. People are getting their voters card. The problem is INEC have fewer numbers of staff, right? And when you have a lot of people besieging that point at the same time, definitely the INEC people will have to do their thing methodically. And of course, they have a set time for them to operate within that day. But we still have a window where people can go and collect their cards. And INEC have assured us that they will deploy more staff to carry out that sundry matter.
Yeah. I mean, just to buttress the point that Dr. Bati mentioned, someone had sent me her experience in Aja, where her name is obviously not Yoruba. So what she had mentioned is that when they go there, they tell them to come back and keep coming back because they're not registered in that area. I should think this should be of concern to your party, because beyond it being, this person could very well be supporting your party on election day. So what are moves by your party to ensure that Lagosians, at least in this case, get their PVCs, the support that you're willing to provide to INEC to ensure that Lagosians are not disenfranchised at the next elections?
You must understand that the APC does not control INEC. The APC does not have staff in INEC. The APC is also...
in the next election.
We have the interest, but we don't control INEC. INEC controls itself.
Yes.
So we are competing just like other parties to telling people to go and collect their PVCs. We can't do more than that.
I understand that. So the question I'm asking is that, is there anything, because you should be concerned, and at that level, I'm sure you have engagement with INEC. I'm not saying you should then go in and put your staff in there. Obviously, that's INEC's responsibility. But is that not a concern to your party? And what are they doing to engage with INEC to ensure that, at least in your state, in this state, they are able to get their PVCs?
Well, we cannot engage with INEC to do their matter. Once again, taking it from your last submission, the best we can do is use mass media like yourself. You just showed a clip of our campaign material. I watched it and all of that, to talk to people, go and get your PVC. Today I've spoken to a lot of people. That's why my voice is cracked and I was asking for water. And we are using the radio and other, medium streams to talk to people to go and get their PVCs. You see, there is this saying that early to wake, early to rise, if I'm very correct. Okay. I made it a mandamus for me to go to INEC at the initial time when the process started, because I knew that the crowd will not be much. A lot of people did not take that advantage. They went for the rush hour. And of course, during rush hour, you are going to have traffic. So what you have now is traffic of people trying to move into a tiny space in order to get their PVC out. So we will collectively talk to INEC. If INEC can still elongate the time a bit, or if INEC can work 24 hours. But again, I've often said this, even before I got this position or whatever position, that voters' registration should not be a seasonal thing. It should be an everyday thing. And the best gift you can give to any youth when they clock 18 is their voter's card. So INEC should move away from this seasonal activity.
No, but it's not seasonal.
It is seasonal.
After these elections, continuous voter registration starts again.
Well, maybe they are just doing that, but it is seasonal. Because what is done in higher climb, you can go to INEC office just as you go to your bank to collect your ATM card, even if you misplace it. Okay. Just fill the form, they will give you another one, and that is where we should move to.
Okay, so I want to come to somebody that left your party that has been speaking, and a lot of people have been leaving your party in droves. And
the same thing for the PDP. They are coming to APC.
Fair enough. As somebody left your party, a prominent person that led the directorate, we might be having a very soon, Haja Janatu, and she said a lot of things about your candidates. And she said he can't lift a cup of tea, he was aloof and all of that. What you're close to your candidates. All those things that were said, about your candidates, what's your read on them? About the fact that he can't leave a cup of tea, he's not coherent, other things like the slurry gaffes he makes, things like ulaba bala blue, and things like that. What does all of that mean to you?
Well, let me tell you something, that the weight of a broom far outweigh the weight of a cup of tea. You should know that very, very well as a realist. But
do you use the same nerves to lift a cup of tea and a broom?
The weight of a broom.
But do you use the same nerves to lift the cup of tea?
Whatever nerve you use, the weight of a broom is far outweigh the weight of a teacup. That you should know as a realist. Now, secondly, what do you expect for somebody that have left because of their own mundane interest that is not being met? Of course, they will want to water you down, castigate you, put aspersion, and put out fake news. It is very well done in this kind of climb. Asiwaju was in Ogun State yesterday. He was dancing. Do you know the weight of Agbada? That's why I don't even wear it. The weight of Agbada alone. He wears Agbada, dance with it, move around, and all of that.
What about
and Asiwaju is the only candidate, go and fact check, that have gone on more campaigns, daily campaigns, engaging with people for at least 18 hours a day. 18 hours a day.
But what about the slurry speech, that people also talked about that is evident, statements like Ulaba. I think in Ondo State he was campaigning the other day. There were slurry speeches, the gaffes and everything that a lot of people
Let me tell you something.
About.
We've gotten to that spot. Let me tell you something, Rufai. There's something called swag, right? I might want to increase my trend on the social media in order to have traction. I could use swag. Actually, I only use swag in order to captivate and catch your attention, which he has achieved. Okay. So the more he uses the swag, it's a tactics. Okay. The more he uses those swags, the more you come in, and when you come in, he gives you his program to get those numbers.
Comrade,
those are swags.
Comrade, thank you very much. Okay, I get this point about swags. I will also learn how to swag on this program.
And you will trend.
But please, I want you to go with a prayer point. These bullion vans that you say go to the wrong address, they miss their way. Please, this election cycle, drivers of bullion vans, please miss your way and come to my house and deliver what is inside. And please also help me pray that the banks should not come and challenge me that our bullion van missed your way to your house. Please let all bullion vans miss their way and come to my house.
Let me say this personally.
It's a prayer point.
Let me say this personally.
Say amen to it.
I can't say amen to it. You know why? No, wait, I will tell you. Even if a bullion van misses his way to your house and they mistakenly drop money in your house and that money is not yours, you'll be arrested for it.
Wow.
Just as if somebody dropped money into your account and the money is not yours and you spend it, you'll be told to return
bullion
it.
Van that missed his way.
So that is why
they miss their way to
that is why I can't say amen to that, because I know the outcome of such process.
Okay, you brought up the issue about bullion vans not knowing their destinations. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for having
joining us. We'll take a short break now. And when we return, we'll be talking to Ajia Najatu Mohammed, former director of civil society organizations for the APC Presidential Campaign Council. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Emergencies happen when you least expect them to. It gets worse when you are cash trapped. No need to despair. First Advance has you covered. You can get that urgent cash right now on First Advance. With First Advance, salary earners can get up to 50% of their salary. No hassles. As long as you earn a monthly salary and your salary account has been active for at least 2 months. It doesn't matter if you run a salary account with First Bank or any other bank. Just dial *894*11# or simply dial *894# on your mobile phone. What's more, when you open a First Bank salary account, you can enjoy 0 charges and free debit card issuance. Download the First mobile app on Play Store or App Store today. Log in to experience First Bank digital banking. Select Loans, select First Advance, and follow the prompts to receive your loan. Don't let that urgent need get the best of you. Get First Advance now. It's as simple as dialing *894*11#. First Advance. Fast, convenient, secure. You first. First Bank.
Lagos has amassed more wealth than any other state in the country to be the most comfortable city to live in.
Now Lagos is earning 51 billion naira every month.
But even with all that money, this is the Lagos you have now. Bad roads filled with potholes, poor drainage system resulting in floods during rainy season, incessant traffic congestions, increased environmental pollution, poor healthcare system, large-scale child begging, poor security and increased crime rates, impunity of state government officials, lack of clean drinking water, poor transportation system. After years of empty promises, Lagos is now rated as the second worst city to live in the world. How long shall we continue like this? Lagos is not working. We want our Lagos back. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jandor as governor of Lagos State. Jafueko, fight for Lagos.
PDP, power to the people.
A reflection of the Nigerian never say die spirit. They never stay down. You're always thinking of how to improve. You're always thinking of how to move forward. My name is Emmanuel Ahimieho. I've been a civil engineer for 18 years. I'm the project manager of Obajana Kaba Road. The Obajana Kaba Road is 43 kilometers built completely of concrete pavement. We started work on December 2016. I remember when we came here, it was virtually lifeless. We're building a road that we know will need very minimal maintenance. It's a road that we don't need to rush back to in 5 years, trying to carry out major maintenance work. We don't need to import anything that we need on the road. They are all locally available materials. All the cement we use on this road is from Dangote Cement Factory, which is the largest cement factory in Africa. The sand is from the communities, so people from the community, they end up becoming suppliers. Imagine supplying sand for a 43-kilometer road. It's a lot of money. There are things I've learned from building this concrete road that I never knew 10 years ago. And to be able to lead those people to achieve something worthwhile, something that is of value to them, to the community, to people who have never met us. And I am positive that the road will outlast most of the people who are building the road. Along this route, you have up to 12 communities. People have the confidence to open shops. Why? Because, you know, someone is going through the road, they sell their things, they sell their goods. That is more money for them. We have a number of eateries now, and you want to buy food along the road, you get fresh food, not food that are preserved. No, you get fresh food. So it is good for us, and it's good for the community too. The road is a lot more safer now for everybody, including Halima, including other travelers. So they have better road, lesser crime, shorter journey times, so a lot of advantages. I've had people who go through the roads and they stop to just say, well done. We are proud of what is happening here. We're happy that this is going on in Nigeria in our time. We can see it. They are proud of it. I think it has brought life back to the communities. I feel very proud, extremely proud being a part of this project.
This na Emeka. He like to dey keep money for her. As CBN deadline don dey near so. This one na wise Emeka. As he don hear say deadline dey near, he wan carry money go deposit for the right place with Access Bank.
It's time to spread your wings and fly. Reach for the sky.
Even if the bank too far, na to go to the nearest Access Closer agent. No carry last with your money.
Get up right now, right now.
Money wey you deposit for Access Bank, na money wey go make your mind rest well. Don't let the money spoil for your hand, oh. 10 million naira today, fit be 0 naira tomorrow. Oya o, Musa, Shade, Onyinye, carry your money go Access Bank or Access Closer agent wey near you. Access, more than banking.
Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. As the 2023 general election approaches, a former All Progressives Congress APC chieftain, Hajiya Najatu Muhammad, former director of the civil society organizations of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, has said that she will not repeat the mistake made on Buhari for Tinubu, the party's presidential candidate. Mohammed said the gaffes and blunders trailing Tinubu's campaign appearances were an indication of ill health and the fact that he was incapable of presiding over the affairs of the nation. But in a swift reaction, the Tinubu-Shettima Presidential Campaign Council has attacked Hajiya Najatu Muhammad, who resigned last week and has since decamped to the Atiku Abubakar campaign group, describing her as a mole in the APC presidential campaign. Joining us now on this morning show from our Abuja studio is Hajiya Najatu Muhammad, former director of civil society organizations, APC Presidential Campaign Council. Hajiya, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Well, Hajiya Najatu Muhammad, do you accept your characterization as a mole in the APC? Because the APC is that you are a mole and you have gone to where you came from. And secondly, do you feel vindicated by what happened in Abeokuta yesterday, where the candidate of the APC accused the Buhari administration, either by way of innuendo or by suggestion or directly with reference to powers that be, that Naira redesign and fuel scarcity, those two major issues faced by Nigerians, have been designed to sabotage him?
In the first place, there's a difference between the Tinubu Campaign Council and the APC. Only the APC could have had the right to expel me from the party, not the Tinubu Campaign Council. The APC doesn't belong to Tinubu. And I gave my resignation to the chairman, somebody that I have a lot of respect for. Not just that, but they know how hard and where they have gone from pillar to pole to beg me to please come back. But I can't go into personal issues, because when you indulge in personal issues, personal insults, you are not only condescending, but you are diverting attention from the main issues, the main problems that are bedeviling this country. So I don't want to waste my time on them. But I want to stand my ground that I left because Tinubu is incapable. And I have been vindicated yesterday. Everything about Tinubu is about himself. When he wanted to contest, he said it's his turn. He wants to hold the knife that will cut the pie. It's not about the country. It's about him, his ego, his corruption. It's all about that. His control, his material control and the psychological control of the people of this country, but particularly the people from the Southwest. I have heard him when we were in ACN saying that when he sleeps, the Southwest sleeps. And when he wakes up, the Southwest wakes up. That is his mentality. It's like an emperor mentality, which is very wrong. However, to be very, very serious, when he begged me, and Falake begged me to go into the campaign council, I rejected. They know that. I didn't want to go into the campaign council, but they begged me. Tinubu, it's still ringing in my ear. In the name of Allah, Hajiya, in the name of Allah, accept this appointment. I said, sir, I will not accept the appointment until you tell me what you have for us up north. He invited me to London. I went to London. I sat with him for 2 hours. Most of the time he was sleeping. I asked him what he had for us up north, because we have extremely serious security problems. He told me that he didn't have anything. I said, sir, you mean that you want to be president and you don't even have a blueprint? He said he doesn't have a blueprint. He doesn't have a blueprint, according to him, because if I have a blueprint, I'm quoting him now, then I might be killed, and because I'll be stepping on too many toes. I said, sir, in that position that you are looking for, you don't think of death. You don't think of assassination. Anyway, that is gone. But I've been vindicated yesterday. Nigerians have been suffering for over a year for lack of fuel. And more Nigerians are going to suffer and are already suffering for the fact that they give a very short notice and make the new notes unavailable. So Nigeria now will have to resort to trade by barter. Tinubu did not say anything. All he's thinking of is the bullion VAM that has been made available for him to buy votes. I've been vindicated. Alhamdulillah.
All right. Well, thank you.
And you know, sir,
Please go ahead.
All right, go
Please
ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is this: Nigerians should be focused. We have a very, very serious problem. Nigeria is at the brink, especially as it concerns security. You must have an enabling environment in order to do anything. So you cannot take someone that is virtually senile and another person that has been associated on several occasions with funding terrorism. That is Kashim Shettima. Kashim Shettima, we should not forget Kabiru Sokoto. Kabiru Sokoto was one of the most wanted terrorists, and he was found and arrested in his house. Let us understand and let us not forget, this terrorism, this banditry, this carnage is not just happening by mistake. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. A multi-billion dollar industry because it takes a lot of money on defense budget. It has a lot to do with the sale of drugs. It has a lot to do with mining and illegal bunkering and illegal and illicit mining. And look at the areas that are generally affected by this. Take the Northeast, for instance. In the Northeast, you have the blue diamond. That is a strategic mineral. You have oil at the Chad Basin that is being explored right now, but illegally. You have Zamfara. If you go to Zamfara, Zamfara has more gold than Ghana. Zamfara's gold is being traded in Dubai and other parts of the country. There is a market called Nigerian gold in Dubai. Go and check. So who is doing this mining? Most times, they are the governors, the people in power. They are the ones doing it in connivance with foreign mercenaries. Can you remember? Have we forgotten when they said there is a no-fly zone in Zamfara? Why should there be a no-fly zone? There isn't even an airport in Zamfara. But aircrafts land and they take off from Zamfara. And let me tell you something else. In Zamfara, every container that comes from China ends up in Zamfara. You know why? Because in Zamfara, the soil in Zamfara has all the strategic minerals that you can think of. So when the containers come in from China, they land they end in Zamfara, and a bag of Zamfara soil is today sold at 5,000. So they need to displace the people to allow them to continue with their mining. I mean, it's multifaceted. And these are people that one has been severally accused of harboring terrorists, even recently. And why? Let us ask, why should Shettima be visiting, along with his governor, be visiting and making a solidarity with a police officer that was being tried for drug trafficking? Why? So you begin to put these things together and you begin to understand why Nigerians must retrieve their country. We can't allow this thing to happen.
Very heavy statements and things you've said just now, Hajia. But I'd like to ask you two questions based on some of the things you mentioned when you tendered your resignation. Still going back to the status of the health of the candidate of the APC, presidential candidate of the APC, where you said that when you had a meeting with him to discuss with issues that you were very particular and passionate about, he couldn't hold the conversation as he was sleeping for most of the time, and then he couldn't raise the teacup. We just interviewed one of the APC members of the campaign, and he said that largely untrue, that he would see during campaigns the APC presidential candidate is very fit, he's able to hold a broom, he wears an agbada, he's able to dance around, and so your claims, hold on, I just want to, let me just land on that your claims that he's not healthy enough. I want to hear from you now, based on your interactions and working with him closely. It has been debated a number of times as to how important the health status of a candidate ought to be to electorates. I'd like you to expand a bit more on that. And then the second question I have for you is based also on your resignation letter, that political parties do not have, in Nigeria currently, do not have ideological differences. And so you were tired of playing in places where people didn't have any ideology. They were all the same. I'd like to understand, what that statement means and then what it means for your future in the politics of Nigeria.
What a lot of people don't know is that I didn't meet Asiwaju in APC. We met at ACN. I was ACN, I didn't go to CPC. I keep saying, I am the first person to start Buhari's campaign. They are still living on my structure, the Northwest. That is one. And any time we try to make an alliance, particularly with the Southwest, we started with the G4. Ojikalu, Buhari, Atiku, and Asiwaju. This is as way back as 2007. In fact, it was, 2007. And it was always Buhari that opted out. He didn't want the alliance, for reasons best known to him. Because he did not want a contest in which he will not be the sole candidate. And he did not want a contest that people will not step down for him. So we did that once, we did that twice, we did that. On the third time, I said, I'm not going with Buhari because I'm not his slave. I decided to stay with the ACN. That was when I started my interaction with Asiwaju. And I know that on several occasions I had to hold the cup for him. So even then. And then everybody saw what happened when Asiwaju was given the flag. Our honorable chairman, or their honorable chairman now, Abdullah, had to help him to hold the flag. Everybody saw it. Cameras don't lie. But you see, madam, what bothers me is not so much his physical health. There was a president in America that sat on a wheelchair and ruled from a wheelchair. But when you are mentally deranged, it's unacceptable. Because you can't decipher, you can't think, you can't do anything. You go to sleep any day, anytime. See what is happening in Cameroons. Let me tell you, in Cameroons, they see their president about in 9 years, they see him once. And they still accept. Nigeria is not Cameroon. Nigeria is not Southern Sudan. We are far more sophisticated than that. So that is for that. And then the second question you ask, yes, I stand by it. Look at the manifestos of all the parties. The only one that is different, to be very, very honest, is not the Labour Party as a Labour Party, but the OB as a movement. However, all the political parties have no ideological difference. And what I'm saying is this, because politicians have shuttled, including Peter Obi, they shuttled from one party to another. Tinubu was AD, then AC, then ACN, now APC. Buhari was APP, then AMPP, then CPC, and now APC. The same is true to Atiku and Kwankwaso, and even Peter Obi. So so it's like a robe they wear. When it suits them, I wear this robe to be on this platform, but it's the same person. It's the same person. So Nigerians must be looking at the person, not the robe the person is wearing. That is at their convenience. That is my position.
Okay, ma. A couple of things. Some will argue and challenge that Yes, you say he's mentally deranged. Prove it medically. You don't have his health records. That's what some will say to you frontally. Second, no, hang on a minute, Ma. Please, let me just finish this assumption. Secondly, a lot of people will also argue with you when you say he says he's got nothing to do. He's got a manifesto out that talked about what he'll do as regards insecurity. Third, in one of your statements, you said Tinubu and Atiku are the devil at the deep blue sea, that you rather go to the deep blue sea in Atiku. Yeah. But he too carries a lot of his own baggages, which you are aware of, which has been spoken about.
Yeah.
And when you look at this, people will say that all of this you are saying is just sour grapes. Because why did you wait till now before you left? And you too, you cannot say you're not benefited for the APC government you claim has failed. And you had benefited from them up till now.
No, I take exception to that, sir.
Okay,
I really take exception to that. Because, yes, I take exception to that because you have to name my benefit. You see, unfortunately, people think that when you are appointed, for instance, I work at the Police Service Commission. Is that what you call a benefit? So Nigerians see appointments as a means to which they can acquire money. Working at the Police Service Commission in the first place, I'm a part-time commissioner that has no salary. I stay for months without a sitting allowance, but I still work. And remember, if I want financial benefits, I want to take you back to the time. Obasanjo offered me ministerial appointments twice, which I rejected. The first one, I got a standing ovation in the Senate. But then we had problems. We had factions, the Saraki faction and the other faction. I belong to the Saraki faction. So having gone through the Senate, the senators from AMPP then decided that they had already expelled me from the APP. So AMPP. So I must, they cannot accept me to be the minister representing the AMPP. So what did Obasanjo said? Obasanjo called me and said, come into the PDP, be a card-carrying member of the PDP, and I will make you minister as a PDP member. I rejected it. The second time, I also rejected it in 2003. Jonathan offered me ministerial appointment. We were given ministerial appointment the same day with Bala Mohammed. He picked me from my house. And we went to see Jonathan, who offered me that appointment. I said, no, I did not do Save Nigeria. I'm one of the conveners of Save Nigeria. I did not do it to be a minister. I want to continue with my activism. I don't want anything to keep me back. And mark you, when people people do not seem to be able to make a dichotomy between service to country and personal aggrandizement. I know there is a difference. When I swore by the Constitution to defend the Constitution of Nigeria, I did not swear to defend Buhari or the APC. And the government of Muhammadu Buhari is not a property of the APC. It's the property of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and all Nigerians. So what are we talking about? So what is the benefit? People must stop seeing governance as a means of personal achievement or personal way of making money. That is the bottom line. I'm different. I have not benefited anything from the APC.
But why Atiku?
And I'm not doing Atiku today for any... I gave my reasons. And my reasons were, I said, Peter Obi is a movement. Yes, I said that. I said that because it's for the first time, the Nigerian youth have a voice and they are coming together to form some kind of movement. It's not even about Peter Obi. The movement will outlive Peter Obi. But I said they have structural problems. I'll give you an example. Buhari since 2003 was getting 15 million votes, but he couldn't be president. Why? In spite of the cult followership the North gave to Buhari, why didn't he win? He didn't win because he had structural problems, because he could not make bridges. It took the alliance that he had rejected severally with the Southwest in particular, that he was able to become president. That is the only reason. And what I'm also saying is that I have no luxury of time. There is no luxury of time. That is why I said I had to choose between the devil and the deep sea. And then, as far as Kwankwaso is concerned, Kwankwaso did a great job for us in Kano, especially in human development. I think the best thing that anyone can give to anybody is education. Because that is why most governors withdrew education from our schools. They withdrew education from our schools because they want this sea of energy. Able-bodied men, they are like uranium. Our kids are so energetic. They are like a virgin uranium, which you can use either to generate power or to make into an atomic bomb. In this case, our youth have been denied education so that they are perpetually cannon fodder for rulers, especially our governors. You understand? So that is why I said I had to choose at this point in time. And I made it clear, explicitly clear, that I don't belong to the PDP. In fact, I said I am partyless. I'm partyless because there are candidates in other parties that I feel I should go and support. So if I say I'm in the PDP, then I will have problems. It's like from frying pan to fire. I need you to
yes,
I can
assist us to some clarifications. First, you said on this program that the candidate of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is mentally deranged. That's a very strong thing to say.
Yes.
No, you can't say yes, because if you look at Section 131 of the 1999 Constitution, Section 131, listing the qualifications for anybody seeking the office of the president, says that, look, the person cannot be of unsound mind. That will be a ground for disqualification. Now, having made that point publicly, you may be called upon to come and prove it. And we are not the ones to go and prove it because you said it. No, hang on a moment. Hang on a moment.
This is okay.
Okay, that's one. Number two, at what point did it occur to you that this candidate, you have issues? You accepted position as director of organizations. You were part of the party from 2015. You supported President Buhari. And just now, just about 30 days or so to the election, you then come around and you say you think your candidate is mentally deranged. That's a very strange thing to say. And then finally.
Yeah, I know.
I want a third thing I want you to clarify. A third thing I want you to clarify.
Yes.
The Tinubu camp, speaking through, I think it's Mahmoud Jega, says that, look, that you were sacked, that you didn't resign, that you were sacked for incompetence and being very quarrelsome. And your quarrelsomeness has also been indicated. I'm quoting Mahmoud Jega, I'm not the one making it up. And that your quarrelsomeness even led you to resigning from the Police Service Commission. I just want clarifications on all these 3 points.
No. I did not resign from the Police Service Commission. Okay. You see, it's really unfortunate. Mahmoud Jega should tell us who bought him a house recently in Abuja and why he joined that team. I'm just leaving that with him. However, let me answer your questions. You see, this is a country, unfortunately, that is bedeviled with so much corruption. If Asiwaju were not what he is, with stupendous amount of money to bribe everyone from the courts and everything, he will not be contesting elections. Because from his name to his school to his health, everything about him is based on lies, and nobody wants to prove that. Nobody wants to prove that because everyone is bribed to say what they want to say. However, Nigerians can see. They see him every day. The last clip I saw of him is calling Atiku the governor of Anambra State. For God's sake, what else do we need? We don't need a doctor to tell us that. We don't need a doctor when somebody is blah, blah, blahing. We don't need a doctor to say it. Look, people must understand that ill health, dementia, is a natural process of human beings. It's nature. It's not as if it's his fault. But it's also not our fault. So we don't have to accept somebody that cannot decipher. That is the truth. You understand? So I am still insisting. And at what point did I resign? I told you from the beginning that I didn't want the appointment. He, Asuwaju, begged me. He begged me. He said, in the name of Allah. This was what he said. Let him deny it. I didn't want the appointment. I didn't want to be part of it. Look, I'm a businesswoman. I'm not a politician that makes money out of politics. Go and look at my history. If I want to make money out of this blood money, I would have made it long ago, but I don't want it. And he must, Asuwaju, okay, why is he not going into debates? Why is he not allowed to talk even in rallies? You know what they do in rallies now? What they do is say, let's dance. They start dancing. It's an insult to Nigerians. Even if it are lies, please lie to us. Lie to us about what you want to do. Why is he running away from debates? He's running away from everything. He went to Chatham House. He was asking others to answer questions for him. And Nigerians accept this. Why was he saying that? If he could answer, if he could think, if he can decipher, why is he allocating questions to other people? Are they the ones that Nigerians are going to vote for? I stand my ground. Yeah, I stand my ground.
All right, okay, so just let me ask you with regards to your statement around the fact that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu bribed his way into winning the APC presidential primaries. In fact, you did allude in a recent interview to the fact that the vice president of the country, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, would have been a better candidate, but for the powers that be, using his terms, in the Lagos-Ibadan press arrangement. That was what made it impossible for him to emerge. I'd like you to give a bit more clarity on this, because you just talked about Mahmoud Jega being given a house. Are there other inducements that had been given to APC leaders to ensure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as presidential candidate?
You see, let me tell you about the fallacy of the Nigerian press and the generality of the Nigerian elites. Osinbajo, anytime Buhari, just one example, anytime Buhari leaves the country, the dollar collapses. Why? Osinbajo was given a few weeks, just a few weeks to run this country, and he put the country on the right track in terms of security, in terms of the finance. A very brilliant professor. If they really and honestly wanted a power shift to the southwest, is he not also Egba Omo Odudua? What is wrong with him? They refused because he could not share money. And let me tell you, I know, like from our candidates, our delegates from Kano, I can tell you that each ballot box, the name of Asuwaju was put on it. All you are paid to do is to go and put it in the box. It wasn't their choice. And we have seen clips of governors sharing money. Governors, such a disgrace. This is the first time that I know that governors do not even sponsor presidential campaigns. Normally, the governor sponsors the presidential campaign in his state. But this time around, it's Asuwaju that is doing it. Because everything about Asuwaju is about money. There is nothing like honor. For God's sake, what do we want? Can we continue to wallow in this? Can we continue to deceive ourselves? Who are we lying to? We are only lying to ourselves. We see these things. The truth has been written on the horizon. Why are we now turning the other eye? And not just that. As far as my so-called expulsion from the APC is concerned, What took them so long? They should have told the public before I resigned that they have kicked me out. But unfortunately, because they are so silly, they are saying after my resignation, they actually kicked me out. You know, they have no respect for the psyche of Nigerians. They think that we are all a bunch of idiots. We are not. Okay. We can think. Okay. I took my time because they pleaded with me. I'm a Muslim. He said, in the name of Allah, please accept this appointment. I respect your stance. I said, sir, you have to give me a blueprint. He said, that doesn't have a blueprint.
Okay.
What is in a manifesto? I just told you that the manifesto of all the parties are the same. So what is in a manifesto?
Okay. So I'd like to ask you the question based on what you said last. Knowing all of this, what took you so long and why now?
You know, sir, one of the problems is this. I didn't want to be arrogant. And let me tell you what I did as a last resort. What I did as a last resort is I went, you know, knowing that this is Asiwaju's handicap, and having pleaded with me in the name of Allah to accept it, I had to be humble. But I didn't just stop, but my conscience was pricking me all the time, because I know that even the Lagos Chamber of Commerce gave him their demands. But look at a whole north without a demand. So what did I do? As a last resort, I want to tell you this. I tried and I sat with all the people I think in the APC, the northerners in the APC, that are the real opinion molders. For 3 months, I have been trying to get them to come together for us to sit and give him an agenda. So that, because when the governors go to see Asiwaju, they go in block to intimidate him. So I said, why not this opinion molders from the APC? Why don't we sit? That was the last, I said, let us sit with him. For 3 months, I was going from pillar to pole to get them to accept this. They say, yes, it's a good idea. But it's each to himself. So I had to go. Okay. And I can't sit on the fence.
Okay.
Those sitting on the fence are either cowards or hypocrites, and I can't do any of those.
Okay. Ajia, on that note, we have to go. Thank you so much for your time this morning. It's time for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have a Rise News analyst, Emmanuel Feni, join us to review top stories in today's newspaper. Stay with us.
New Naira notes? Don't panic. Here's what you need to know. Ensure to make deposits of all old banknotes before January 31, 2023. To make the process seamless for you, all Fidelity Bank branches will be open till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays to allow for cash deposits only. Also, please note that bank charges on all cash deposits have been suspended by the CBN. However, charges shall still be applied on cash withdrawals. The new banknotes can be accessed at any Fidelity Bank branch nationwide from December 15, 2022. Old banknotes will remain in circulation till January 31, 2023, when they will cease to be legal tender, as directed by the CBN. For more inquiries, follow us on our social media channels or email us at true.serve@fidelitybank.ng. You can also call 0700 3035 489 or reach us on WhatsApp on 090 3000 5252. Thank you for banking with us.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a MiFi for 5,000 naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband buy.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how una wan do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC, the party where show broom. Not forget now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I go put my hand for Tinubu.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabar.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ayo, good morning, Rufai. Yes, it's been smoking out here. Really hot, Nigerian politics. Well, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Tinubu, petrol scarcity, Naira redesign, ploy to sabotage my victory in the election. Let fuel be scarce. Change ink of Naira, I will win, declares former Lagos governor. Atiku to Tinubu, currency redesign has destroyed your bullion van plan. Insists attacking president won't save his failing campaign. Yes, of course, as this day reports this story, a new twist was yesterday added to the current fuel scarcity in the country and the decision by the Central Bank of Nigeria to redesign the Naira, 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira, and 200 Naira. Now, yes, it has to be a Abeokuta. I don't know why. Ruben, you're an Abeokuta person. I remember the song, Lori Olumo. You know, I used to enjoy that song. But it's like when you want to enjoy, you go to the top of the mountain.
Lori Oke, Ati Petele. Okay,
yes, it's the Mayo part. It's like when you want to be happy, you go to the top of the mountain. When you want to make strong statements, just go to under the mountain, Abeokuta. Yes. Remember that's your town. The town of Reuben Abati, the town of Tundu Abiola. Yes, Victoria Tundu Abiola. I'm sure she's watching. And of course, the town of MQ Abiola, of course. And the town of Olusegun Obasanjo. Yes. So it seems to be a favorite spot for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he wants to hit hard. And of course, remember the Awalokon, Emilokon speech. But this is a different dimension. I've been trying to wrap my brain around this. The nexus between fuel scarcity and election victory. Well, I've not been able to find anything yet. But the Naira redesign, I recall on Tuesday when Godwin Emefiele addressed the press after the MPC meeting, amongst other gains of the Naira redesign, he talked about, of course, the monies, over 1 trillion returned that has come back to the bank and banking system. Of course, kidnappers and hostage takers having a hard time because of the resign. He deliberately refused to add vote buying. I was watching him. I think somebody tried to drag him into that conversation, and he said, no, 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 please, I don't want to heat up the politics. I'm not into that. But if on election day in the past, other people's election you were not contesting, you had to mobilize 2 bullion truck, because my banker friends corrected me that thing we saw is not bullion van. Bullion van is the one on pickup. But what moved into Asiwaju's house on election day is bullion truck. Now, for those who are saying it missed road, please, you can't use our platform to just sell fake news, as I tell you. No bank was open on election day. So
it was election day.
It was election, a day before the election, on the eve of the election, okay? And the bullion van missed its way. How? So, and in all the narratives, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has never said those vans missed their way into my compound. And so for somebody to use that, well, it's a novel defense, but I'm not sure Nigerians are going to buy that. Yes, of course, we're talking about Tinubu and the Naira redesign. He said it is meant to scuttle his victory. How, you will ask? That is the question, how? As for the petrol issue, yes, coming a day after the president assumed responsibility, we know he's the Minister of Petroleum Resources. But all this while, by assuming the chairmanship of a committee set up to deal with scarcity, the president was clearly assuming responsibility for a portfolio he's been keeping, maybe just in name. But we just continue to see how this is connected. But the PDP jumping into that clearly, saying that, oh, it's because the APC candidate wants to move bullion van on election day or a day before election. That's why he's crying foul over the redesign of the Naira. But that in itself does not distract from the fact that there's a problem of circulating the new Naira notes, which has not permitted every nook and cranny of the country. Banks, now people are queuing at banks to get money from the ATMs. The other day I tried, you can't get more than 20,000 Naira with one card at a time. So if you have 2 different cards, 3 different cards from 3 different banks, perhaps you can get more than 20,000 Naira at a time. But one card cannot give you more than 20,000. That's what I found out a couple of days ago. Now, the Guardian newspaper also reporting the Tinubu story. Tinubu jabs federal government, alleges sabotage with fuel crisis, Naira redesign. Attacking Buhari won't save you from defeat. Atiku mocks Tinubu. Stop going to Abeokuta, Obi towns Tinubu. Marketers hoard fuel, find alibi in revised Lagos State government directive on operation. Marketers may sue NNPC over inability to deliver PMS. Yes, NNPC, the sole importer, the group managing director of NNPCL, is used to shouting on the rooftop, we have enough fuel, but to distribute it, he will give one excuse or the other. But for some weeks now, I have not heard from the group managing director of NNPCL, Melekiare, the CEO. Now, the Punch newspaper, recent crisis aim at stopping Tinubu, but above the masthead, federal government budgets 1.2 trillion Naira to service CBN loans. Rufai, you were asking, how will those loans be serviced? Here you have the answer. But where is this 1.2 trillion Naira to service the CBN loans going to come from? Of course, from our income, our proceeds from oil. Of course, we heard that the report yesterday, we made so much money from the FIRS brought in so much money into the coffers. So there will be enough money to service the CBN debt and others, the CBN loans and others. Now, The problem is that we are spending so much money to service our debt service to revenue is disproportionate, and economists are saying that is not acceptable. Now, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, above the masthead, unidentified helicopter kills scores in Nasarawa, and that story is also on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. 38 headers killed in Nasarawa air raid. Our innocent members were killed by Air Force. Meji Allah is making that allegation. Drone used for shelling of pastoralists. Governor Sule, it is worst evil of profiling. Northern elders assured the investigation military monk. We must get to the root of this. Aircraft, helicopter, or whatever cannot come from nowhere and bomb Nigerian citizens. Is it Nigerian Air Force plane, helicopter that did this damage? Is it aircraft from somewhere else? We need answers very quickly. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. Wall Street Journal reporting. Wall Street Journal, Twitter away selling shares to cut debts. Musk team has discussed issuing new equity of up to $3 billion as revenue declines. Of course, Elon Musk's team held talks with investors about raising up to $3 billion to repay some of its $13 billion in debt. Of course, that's Elon Musk looking for how to deal with the debt situation. Now, the Financial Times, Lockheed ramps up F-16 production as Ukraine allies debate sending jets. They've sent tanks, they want to send jets. Of course, yeah.
We have to go. I'm surprised you didn't talk, except I missed that the Arise Fashion Week is already auditioning about 600 young models, many of them new faces, more than 40 of them.
Yes.
Who want to take advantage.
Okay, that's on the front page
of the opportunities
of this day. Of course, the window story. If you just put this day up there, it's there.
Okay.
600
and then
young
the
models.
death of the PDP gubernatorial candidate in Abia State. But all of that will be addressed. The relevant sections of the law will be Section 33 of the Electoral Act 2022 and Section 34, 1, 2, 3 subsections of the
PDP has 14
days.
The
Electoral
14
Act,
days to
2022.
elect a new candidate.
We condole with the people of Abia State and the members of the PDP in that state and PDP generally, and also acknowledge the fact that other political parties have suspended campaign activities in honor of Professor Uchenna Ikonne. Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Ofene. We take a short break now. When we return, Ojinika Ojiokwe will be here with details on what's trending. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Papa, mama, brother, sister. This Lagos must work for all of us. Everybody
Oh yes, Lagos people. Papa, mama, sister, brother, auntie, plus including uncle them. Better don't land for Lagos State gidigba. Money will be for Lagos State, then go use them for Lagos State. Wella, no more Baba Sope. They no go chop Lagos State money. Nobody go pocket Lagos State. Then go take and build Lagos State, build road, build hospital, build houses. And now only one man fit do this job. His name na Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando. He can't carry one obonge person as a deputy governor. Her name na Funke Akindele Jennifer. My people, what do we wait for? Make we vote for light, vote for change. No be the kind change where they vote before. This one na the original change. How am done do? Pay the pay.
Everybody
Yesterday I got a call from Globe. I want a 3-bedroom bungalow.
Yes, guys! Guess what? I won a car.
I won a generator by participating in the Festival of Joy promo by Glow.
Hey, Glow don't do this one for me. Glow to make it set to me with sewing machine.
I won generator last year. This year I won for
It's a celebration like no other with prizes like no other. 20 new houses to be won. 24 brand new cars. 200 sewing machines. 100 generators. 1,000 rechargeable fans. Glow Festival of Joy promo. Dial *611# now.
As you adjust to the new realities for operating your business and engaging with your customers, let us help you transform your business into a digital powerhouse capable of adapting and taking advantage of today's opportunities. With our best-in-class array of digital solutions, you can conduct your business, receive payments from your customers, and perform transactions quickly, safely, and conveniently, because we've got you covered with the right people, technology, and service offerings. Contact us today and let us take your business to its zenith. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now is Ojinika Ojiokwe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinek.
Can you make it any louder? Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you? Good morning. Yes, we are matching today. Yeah, we got the memo. How are you, Ayo?
Very well, thank you.
Great.
How are you too?
Great. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Both of you are peppering them.
Yes. Dr. Abati, I heard you talk about the Arise Fashion Week, and I will just follow your lead. Right, it's on this day's cover today. 600 young models eye global spotlight audition for Arise Fashion Week. I saw that on their Instagram yesterday. There were a lot of young models, and I thought to myself, wow, Oji, you still look like this. Young, but you know.
I look forward to see you on the runway, catwalking.
I'm not sure. No.
You know that Ojinika signature style.
That's what you call it. But you know, Arise Fashion Week, like this day is reporting, is going to be amazing. It is the most influential runway show, and we look forward to seeing, celebrities, and of course it's a jazz festival as well. So we have these musicians come up on stage to perform as well. Fun time.
February 2nd to
February
the 4th.
2nd, absolutely. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing comments made by the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, during the party's presidential campaign rally in Abeokuta on Wednesday, in which he alleged that the powers that be were behind the fuel crisis and the scarcity of the new Naira notes to scuttle the election. Tinubu, while addressing a mammoth crowd of APC members and supporters at the MKO Abiola International Stadium, described the forthcoming election as a superior revolution that will usher in a new government, adding that the crisis was artificially created to discourage people from voting for the APC, and that they will use their PVCs to take over the government from them.
A sọ fún yín lédè iná a rò pé àwọn lè dá wàhálà lẹ̀ wọ́n sabotage epo wọ́n sabotage epo arépo àlépo àrọ́kadà àrọ́kadà. Ari tricycle, a máa lọ dìbò, a máa wọlé, a máa dìbò, a máa wọlé. This is a revolution. And when I tell you, you know what I mean. You know me. Ẹ jẹ́ kí fún àwọn náà mọ̀ bí tán kó sí. Ẹ kówó pamọ́, ẹ gbépo pamọ́, ẹ gbé náírà pamọ́. A máa dìbò. A máa wọlé. A máa dìbò.
Tinubu has created another slogan. Amawole, Amadibu. I love it. I'm learning Yoruba every day. But let's take these reactions before we discuss. Well, this is from Adenakan, who wrote, Tinubu just made a mockery of himself. Buhari and the APC. How can you say you will take power from them, that is the APC? Say they have started using fuel scarcity trick again. Who are they? APC? He said even without fuel, his fans should get their PVCs and vote them out. Who are they? The APC. Well, Akinsola wrote, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu speaks with confidence and he faces his challenges professionally. Oil marketers are trying to sabotage the government. We will overcome, all of you. Nigerians will vote for Mr. Solution. He has done it in Lagos before. He'll do it for Nigeria. Hashtag Tinubu in Ogun, the famous Ogun state. Well, APC's director on new media of the PCC, Femi Fani-Kayode, echoing Tinubu, said, whatever your plans are to scuttle this election, whatever through new Naira notes, fuel scarcity, or creating an atmosphere of fear and panic, you shall fail. The cat is out of the bag. We know the plan. We know who you are using. We know who is behind it. We know what to do. Well, I wonder what they know. Let me continue. Well, reacting to Tinubu's comments, author and activist Reno Mokri posted a video of President Muhammadu Buhari responding to the CBN's cashless policy and its newly redesigned Naira notes when he was in the United Kingdom last year. Well, Reno stated Tinubu's anger with the president is because he realizes it's game over and that he will now have to struggle for second place in the election. Let's take a look at that video.
This change of currency, I think there will be people a lot of money. But time has been given from October to December, 3 months. Is enough, whatever money you have, to get it changed through a legal system. So I don't know why people are complaining about it.
So despite the complaint, there's no going back on the policy?
No, there's no going back. There's no going back. My aim is to make sure that Nigerians believe that we respect them as an administration. So Nigerians should vote for whoever they like from whichever party. Nobody will be allowed to mobilize resources and thugs to intimidate people in any constituency. That's what I want to go down into Nigerian history for. Well,
Dr. Vati, other PDP members have responded to Tinubu's, which I call it outburst, in Ogun State. Frank Shaibu, Atiku's media aide, also stated that, Tinubu is using this for scarcity and the newly redesigned Naira notes, as an excuse for his imminent defeat at the polls. But I wanted also to address one of my other tweets. Could Tinubu be referring to the oil marketers, like one of my Twitter users, made reference to? And also, I'd like for you to, respond to Femi Fani-Kayode's tweet there, where he says he knows, they know who they are.
Yeah, we've commented on this earlier on at great length, but there are other angles to look at.
Absolutely.
And it's good you brought up the statement by Femi Fani-Kayode. I raised the point earlier that we were hoping that perhaps, the Tinubu campaign will come forward and say this is a case of misinterpretation, mischaracterization, and misrepresentation. But shortly after yesterday, we had Femi Fani-Kayode coming up with that tweet and saying, we know who they are. Yeah. We know what their plan is, and we are ready for them. We know what to do. We know who's behind it and all of that. Okay, I think these are critical questions that the Tinubu-Shetima campaign and the APC Presidential Campaign Council will still have to answer. Who is behind it? What is their plan? And what do they intend to do? Apart from saying we should trek on election day if we can't get, tricycles to go and vote and serve their own purpose. However, even if we say it's innuendo that the APC presidential candidate stayed with, because he didn't mention Buhari's name expressly. But he said the powers that be. Yeah. Who are the powers that be in the country at the moment? The APC controlling government at the center. Fuel scarcity, Naira redesign. These are issues arising from state policy, either omissions or affirmations. So it's not marketers. Marketers are not the ones behind the fuel scarcity. In fact, left to the marketers, they would rather have fuel so that they can do business. And they make specific points about what they want. Yeah. They want food deregulation. They want access to forex. They want monopoly broken and a level playing field, given. So those cannot be the problems. Because I made the point yesterday that Dapman, Ipman, Moman, they are not members of that committee that has been set up that the president is chairing. The same day that the Buhari administration announced that they had set up a committee, it was an issue for the party's presidential candidate in Abeokuta. And we made the point that this is very strange. This is the first time that I have seen, I stand to be corrected, in Nigeria, that the presidential candidate of a sitting government will throw his own party, not just under the bus, under the train, because trains have become very notorious in Nigeria now. The trains are worse than the buses. Yes. The buses are still functioning, the trains, you just carry the party, the government, threw them under the bus. I'm surprised that Garuba Shehu, maybe he has not read the news. I'm surprised because by now we expect that Garuba Shehu will have come out. Yeah. No, instead it's the PDP that is defending the president. It's the Labour Party that is defending the president. Very strange. But I repeat the advice that I gave later on, that maybe until this election holds, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's handlers should stop him from going to Abeokuta. Because it's like each time he goes to Abeokuta, something dramatic happens. I don't know whether, I don't know what is responsible for that. But the other time when he talked about, no, we have good water in Abeokuta. Please, don't put down an important city that produces presidents and geniuses on a routine basis. So maybe he should stay away from there, so that it doesn't trigger that reaction. And then the people who were around him, they were laughing, they were echoing him. Look, psychophancy should not be a political strategy because intelligent people can see through it. They should engage their candidate and tell him that, look, certain things should not be said because you don't erode whatever gains you have made. But of course, President Buhari, I don't expect that personally President Buhari will respond. After all, he came to Lagos. He commissioned rice mill. He commissioned train. He commissioned everything. He didn't say a word. But you have him on tape here saying that Nigerians should vote for whoever they like.
Whoever they like.
And we've been told that the fit and proper persons under Section 131 of the Constitution and by the assessment and estimation of reasonable and right-thinking members of society should be the person that should be voted for. So the choice is yours as a member of the electorate. I don't know whether you have a PVC. I'm also not too sure. Maybe you'll be on duty on election day. But those who are not on duty, if they have PVCs, you make your choice. And it should be an informed choice.
Absolutely.
Nobody can dictate that to anybody. The president has said, vote whoever you want.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm going to take it from, the president's comment in London when he talked about the fact that people should vote whoever they want and that, the cashless policy was going to stay and that he wouldn't want any thuggery during the election. I mean, people are saying, this is another Ogun moment, our Ogun moment, where he goes, Emilo Khan, like it is my turn, and he is fighting back.
There's a lot of inspiration.
Saying he's fighting back.
There's a lot of inspiration in Abeokuta. Once you drink Abeokuta water, you're inspired. And Dr. Abati, I'll prove you wrong. I think it's in the water. Okay. Can't you see that Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was walking over how many kilometers the other day at the 100-day celebration party? So it's
Did you see his football game?
I saw his football game. He scored goals. Yes. So it's the inspiration, the bold inspiration of our Omo.
No, he did not only score goals.
Was it a hat-trick?
Yes.
It's called a hat-trick.
And this is the January transfer window.
You see?
Please, maybe your team. We need Baba Obasanjo to come and rescue your team.
Come and rescue you because we are not scoring goals. But please, two things we should never do. It's not about Mr. Mefele. Please stop hounding the CBN policy. The policy for the betterment of all of us.
Yes.
There are challenges and teething problems, but stop attacking it. And it now shows politically the people that have been affected by the policy. Because it's only when I press your neck, you will cry, isn't it? Just policy. The termination date of policy has not even started. People are already shouting. He said they hid money. I don't know who's hiding money. Maybe there are billion vans and everything everywhere for people can use to transport money and they can have proper GPS. So who is hiding the money? Who is hiding the fuel? And it's very obvious. And
well, Femi Fani-Kayode says they know who they are. So we need to
It is them among themselves. They know who they are. Okay. They are the politicians among themselves. They know the games they are playing at the expense of Nigerians. Isn't it amazing? And that's why I want, please, he has to still go to Abeokuta once more. He has to go and speak again.
To bring another
we need to hear more.
We can't
because
have enough of it.
It was in Abeokuta we heard that Buhari cried. That Olule. Osukun. Lori television.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love my
So it is Abeokuta too now that we are hearing that so he has to go back again so that we can hear more.
Okay.
And may they speak more. And then they can't reply now because they all know what's going on. I'm happy that Nigerians are seeing all of this with the political class and they can make their inferences. Please, Baba, Abeokuta Kekon, it remains one. Please.
All right. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned and brought in the perspective of the Nigerian people.
Yes.
When things like this happen, true winners are the Nigerian people.
Yes.
Because, you know, they say when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. In this case, when two elephants fight, in this case, the Nigerian people are able to truly assess the candidates and make an informed choice. At the end of the day, you know, we can laugh about these things, but these are serious issues that we would use to analyze who should be the best candidate for us as the next president of Nigeria. Talk about, and I'll just take one statement from what he said. We know that when politicians go to the campaign grounds, they make very flowery promises. And sometimes it's difficult to decipher which is a promise, you know, which is just trying to play with the emotions of the people. One of the statements that he made yesterday, beyond all the things he said about sabotage, was that he was going to bring down the price of petrol. That once he gets into government is going to bring it down. They're asking for 200 naira, part of sabotage. Then you begin to ask the question. In his manifesto, he's given a stance on what he will do with regards to subsidy if he does become president. And then he's now saying that he's going to bring down the price of petrol. How is he going to do it? When you make promises like that, then you're telling the Nigerian people that perhaps we shouldn't take what you speak or what you say at campaign grounds very seriously if you're speaking from both sides of your mouth. So that's another aspect that we must begin to, you know, microscopically look at and see just how truthful these people are to us. But again, with the Naira redesign policy, we can see now how much of an effect it's having, aside from the other parts of, you know, the economy that the CBN governor identified, including reducing inflation or bringing down inflation, is the impact it would have on our next election.
No, said I. All right, then. We shall take another story. On Wednesday, young voters trooped to the streets in the Etiosa local government area of Lagos State to protest the lack of permanent voter cards at the Independent National Electoral Commission office in the zone. The protesters carried placards, chanting songs saying they need their PVCs. Subsequently, a video showing frustrated voters at an INEC office in Oluyole in Ibadan, lamenting that INEC has refused to release their PVCs, has made the rounds on social media. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
They are out. They are out. They are fighting. They are fighting people. Can you see that? Can you see that? They are fighting people. In Oluyole, yeah, in Oluyole. Yeah, in Oluyole. Any copies in Oluyole. I've seen it. Live.
I think we have been talking about this situation for quite some time now. This is completely unacceptable, what's happening in Ibadan there, and the office at Etiosa. Dr. Bati.
Well, we've seen similar spectacles everywhere, not just in Oluyole in Ibadan, or Etiosa in Lagos, in other parts of the country. People protesting that they've not been able to get their PVCs. One, you can't vote without the PVC. It's the only, means of identification recognized by the beavers that is being introduced. If persons do not get their permanent voters' cards, they will not be able to take part in the exercise. And it's even more unfortunate that there are persons who are saying that they will commit suicide if they are not allowed to vote with their identity cards in this election. Yes. It's not identity card or driver's license that is required. It's that PVC. Some people have gone a step further. That going forward, maybe what we need to do is to harmonize the registration process so that, look, with your BVN or your NIN card, you can do a number of things, including voting at elections.
Especially the NIN, where you have that process with the thumb printing.
Yeah, once you have your, so that you centralize it as is done elsewhere. But we're still learning. Nigeria's democracy is still a learning process. The second thing is that it's an embarrassment to the Independent National Electoral Commission that says it is ready, it is prepared. If people cannot get their PVC, then INEC is not prepared. The third part of it is that people are reading ethnic meanings into it. Some people say they are being deliberately shut out because they come from particular parts of the country. The fourth part of it is a complaint about the ad hoc staff of INEC who have been accused of trying to collect money, or munamuna, as they call it, from people before they give them their PVCs. INEC has to address that within the short window that is available. How they go about it, is something that they have to put their own thinking caps on and ensure that people are not deliberately shut out of the process, so that people don't commit suicide, so that people don't resort to violence, because in some parts, these protests have, degenerated into violence.
Yeah, INEC cannot disenfranchise voters. They have to vote. We'll take our final story in Delta State, where the governor of the state, Ifeanyi Okowa, unveiled several projects on Wednesday in the state's capital, Asaba. The projects include a multi-million naira recreation hub called the Mariam Babangida Leisure Park and Film Village, a 152,000 square meter tourism and entertainment center, which the government says, or the governor says, will solidify Delta State as the creative capital of Nigeria. Other projects include the Model Technical College and the Koka Junction flyover and interchange. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, was at the unveiling ceremony to commission the projects.
Congratulations, Governor Okowa, for this very huge development that you have undertaken. So it is my singular honor and privilege today to commission this flyover and interchange for the benefit of the people of Delta State in particular, and Nigerians in general who fly over these roads. And I hope some of our governors present here will also take a cue.
Well, that was a successful event yesterday in Delta State, again, my state, and I thought that Atiku Abubakar's point about other governors, taking note with all these, projects that were unveiled. The other day we talked about the floating market in Delta State. I love the idea of creating more jobs for our people. Congratulations again. Well, thank you all for your great analysis as always on What's Trending. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.
And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show. Oliver Macpherson-Smith will be here next to take you through Global Business Report. Stay with us. It's still the Arise News Channel.
Imagine your wallet can be everything. Well, almost everything your bank is to you. That's exactly what First Money Wallet